Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Well, it's been another long day in the Metrix studio, but I'm happy to announce that we're finally back at our original location. The bumper cars have dispersed, the fun house has been packed away, and what else? What else was there? Hook a duck. Hook a duck. Maybe someone can help me. What is the proper Americanism for a place with bumper cars and a haunted house and a fun house and the washing machine ride and hook a duck? Is it a carnival? Is that what a carnival is? In British, it would be called a fun fair. Hook a duck. I used to be fantastic at hook a duck. You know, I could hook any duck. I used to hook a duck blind. Just wear a blindfold and hook a duck behind my back. Just turn around, face away from the ducks, and put the hook. And just, you know, it used to be one of my main skills. Later in life, I tried applying the same skills to women, and it backfired horribly. Yes. Some skills just belong where they belong, don't they? Hook a duck. You know, prizes. I used to think that the prizes were great. Not so much anymore. I look at them and I'm like, well, I wouldn't even want to buy that for $1. Okay? Keep your fluffy, strange bear thing. Anyway, what are we doing tonight? We are looking at the testimony, the 2023 testimony of Luis Rivera, Stone Cold Luis Rivera, head of the Latin Kings North Miami faction. Can you believe it's his third time testifying in this case? I mean, I get the feeling that, but you know, when he is released on his 19-year sentence, he's probably going to have to come back to Leon County to testify as a free man. You know, they'll still be going. The wheels of justice will still be turning for Professor Markel by the time Luis Rivera is released. How is the deal going to work then? I mean, he's not really going to be obliged to do it, is he? What are they going to say? You need to come back, otherwise we're going to arrest you again? I don't know. Hopefully it will be taken care of by then. Yeah, so we're going to be having a look at his testimony. I figured just as we finished up the 2022 testimony the other day from Luis Rivera, we'll just move on to 2023. You know, I like to get things, I like to be thorough and get things done completely. You know, cross the T's and dot the lowercase J's. So, where is our video tonight, guys? Welcome, everybody in the chat. Welcome, John Duncan. Good to see you. Spacey Dove. Gresh. Good to see you, Gresh. And Neverly Darling, of course. Welcome, Neverly. Okay, let's kick off this bad boy. And he is one hell of a bad boy, isn't he? But the bad boy that we love.
You may be seated.
Oh.
Mr. Rashbaum, you can go ahead with the proffer of the witness.
Wait. We'll just go into properties over here. Properties. Just bear with us, folks. Bear with us. Okay, so where are my properties? I've got this property. Input. I don't want to use the disgusting inbuilt microphone and headphones. I want proper stuff, studio stuff. Okay, there we go. M Uber mic. Output M Uber mic. Okay, we should be good to go. We are rolling.
Yes, Mr. Rivera, let me swear you in at this point. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or...
Yeah, do let us know if there's any issues at all with the audio, guys. Happy to fix them for you.
Affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth. You may take your seat.
Mr. Rivera, how are you?
All right.
In 2014, 2015, you were a member of the Latin Kings, is that right?
Yes.
Whoa.
And that's a violent gang?
Hey. We want to start with direct testimony here. Where's Mr. Rashbaum? Well, hang on. What? Just give us a sec here, guys. Or is this a proffer? I think this is the proffer of the witness. Okay, so he's just going to ask questions before they actually get to the testimony.
No, we're a family.
But it's a gang, right?
Yeah, it's a gang. It's a family, though.
In fact, you were head of the North Miami branch of Latin Kings, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the questions I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kappelman, do you have anything to raise concerning this in light of what has been proffered as the theory of defense?
No, Your Honor, I'm still objecting to relevance.
As this specifically goes to the defendant's theory of defense, I will permit the line of questioning that has been raised. However, Mr. Rauschbaum, you are being cautioned as to going into any matters that are collateral to your theory itself. Do you understand what the line is?
Understand, Your Honor.
Let's bring in the jurors.
It's too easy.
Bob, good to see you. And Barbara O'Keefe. Is that another Bob? We've got two Barbaras. Welcome, Barbaras. He's lost a bit of weight, hasn't he? Luis Rivera. What's he been doing in that prison? Okay, we've got good sound. Thanks, Neville.
Everyone except for Mr. Rivera may be seated. Mr. Rivera, I'm going to swear you now in front of the jury. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I swear.
You may take your seat. You may examine when ready.
What is your name, sir?
Luis Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, where are you from?
Miami. I'm Puerto Rican, but raised in Miami.
Right, and I see you're wearing a jail uniform. Have you been convicted of a felony?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
I don't remember.
5
Much.
sound right?
45, yeah.
See, he said 10 last time. That's quite a big difference for felony convictions, wouldn't you say? There's strange inconsistencies with these trials. I don't know why they're there. I mean, they're not often on things that seem to really matter, but why have any? Why have a difference of 10 felony convictions and 5 felony convictions with the same guy? Why have that?
All right, and are you currently incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you serving a sentence for both this case that we're here about and also a federal case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's start with the federal case. What is the nature of that charge?
Conspiracy RICO with the Latin Kings.
Conspiracy, RICO, like a racketeering?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's related to your involvement with the Latin Kings?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a gang?
Gang, family.
Okay.
I know, Grish. Don't we have the best audio in true crime? I mean, it's all thanks to this wonderful microphone. It is such a nice microphone. I'm so happy with this microphone.
And that was a group that you were affiliated with when you lived in Miami?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we've heard that when some incidents occurred during this case, you were incarcerated in Broward County. Were you incarcerated in Broward County back in 2016?
No.
You were never in Broward?
2016?
Yeah.
No, I was in the feds.
Okay, so you were incarcerated, but not in Broward. That was part of the ruse that you were.
Yeah, I was in Broward, but I was 2016. I was in the feds. I was in Coleman.
All right. So at the time of what we're calling the bump, you were actually in federal custody.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that on the racketeering case?
Yes, ma'am.
You're still serving a sentence on that case?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is that case in any way related to the murder that we're here about today?
No, ma'am.
All right. So when law enforcement came to talked to you and identified you as a suspect in the murder case, you were already serving this sentence unrelated. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been promised anything in reference to that federal case
No,
for your
ma'am.
testimony here today?
Nope.
All right. And have you ever gotten any help on the federal case for your cooperation in this case?
No, ma'am.
All right. What did you get for your cooperation in this case?
This case, the murder case, 19 years.
All right. And was the 19 years to be served concurrently or at the same time with the federal sentence you're already serving?
Concurrent with the same time as the feds.
And what is your release date once you conclude both sentences?
Both sentences, 2032, 33.
32 or 33? 2032 or 2033?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it that you have to do in exchange for this 19-year sentence on the murder case?
I testified.
All right. And what do you have to testify to?
The murder.
All right. And has anyone told you to say anything other than the truth in the case?
No, ma'am.
Have I or anyone promised you anything other than what we've already discussed, the sentence you got?
No, ma'am.
Anybody ever told you that you had to testify about a specific person in order to get a deal?
No, ma'am.
Hello, Udi, and hello, Leslie.
All right, I want to talk about how you came to be a participant in the...
I mean, he looks like he's just got out of bed, doesn't he? I mean, he probably has. You know, we know what it's like in when these prisoners are brought back to Leon County for to testify. We hear from Katie all the time how it sucks, how she's just in a room waiting with none of her stuff, and it's like, you know, isolation, blah 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 blah. So he's probably in there just snoozing, nothing to do, no yard time, no work, no PI, nothing, just peanut butter jelly and sleep. So he's let his appearance slide a little. I'm kind of disappointed, you know. I can't wait to see Luis Rivera get back to King Reyes, the barbershop, every Saturday.
murder of Dan Markel. Did you participate in his murder?
Yes, ma'am.
How is it that you came to be a part of that?
From a friend,
And who's your friend?
Garcia.
Who's Garcia? Is that Sigfredo Garcia?
Sigfredo Garcia, yes.
How did you know him?
Childhood.
And had you described him as a brother previously?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that because he was in the gang, or
No,
just
he's not in no gang.
he was not in a gang,
Oh.
but he was a good enough friend that you referred to him as
Yes,
a brother?
ma'am.
And back around the time that this crime occurred in 2014, were you and Mr. Garcia together all the time?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Garcia, is he the one that came to you with the information about this job that needed to be done?
Absolutely.
And I say job, is that what this murder was to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So your motive for coming to Tallahassee and participating in this murder was money?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Did you know Dan Markel?
Nope.
Did you know anything about him?
Nope.
All right, so do you know why Garcia, or how Garcia came to know about this murder or this job?
His girl,
Who's that?
Katie.
All right, so am I correct that Katie hired Garcia and Garcia hired you?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was to actually come to Tallahassee to do the murder?
It was me and him.
You and Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
But not Katie?
No.
So she stayed in Miami?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And who was to get the money once the job was done?
Katie.
All right. And did she get the money?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where she got the money from? Do you know where she got the money from?
Yeah, the people.
Who are the people?
The dentist. I called them the dentist at that time.
The dentist?
Like Wendy and her brother.
Okay. And do you know which one of them actually handed Katie the money?
No, absolutely not.
And you weren't there for that?
No, ma'am.
So Katie went to get the money from the people, which includes both of them.
Yes, ma'am.
And then brought it back to you.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Did you originally describe the purpose behind this murder as helping a lady in Tallahassee get her kids?
What you mean?
Did you describe the... I know your purpose was money,
yeah.
But whoever did the hiring had a different purpose, right?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of that purpose?
For the kids.
To get these kids?
Get the kids back.
Okay.
Bob417 says, interesting case. The spoiled elitist turned out to be no different than the gang leader. I'd say he's a damn sight worse. Less humanity to Charlie Adelson than an actual gang leader, right? A gang leader who's ordered KOS orders, kill on sight orders, who's ordered beatings and tattoo removal, either by chopping off limbs or burning off. I mean, serious stuff, right? Racketeering charges, you know. Yeah. This guy is much more likable. If I had to pick one of them to have round for Christmas morning, it would be Luis Rivera, not Charlie Adelson. I'd have more fun, and I'd just feel better. I'd feel more like sharing with this guy than I would do Charlie Adelson.
And do you know any more about that? Which family member did what, and whose kids they were, or anything like that?
No, I don't think I know the kids was Wendy. That's her name.
Wendy, they're Wendy's kids?
Yeah, that's the only thing I know.
Okay, and it had something to do with getting Wendy's kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the dentist?
No.
Have you ever met the dentist before?
No.
What did the dentist have to do with the lady in Tallahassee that had the kids?
That's her brother.
And what was his...
I just gotta say, Udi, this is a great, great way. You know, your sales psychology is good, my friend. You know, sometimes people in the chat to promote likes say things like 180 people in chat but only 96 likes, like question mark, question mark, question mark. And that's bad sales psychology, okay? That's casting light on a lack of likes, right? That's not how to do it. This is how to do it. I'm always so impressed by how many people in chat hit the like button. It really helps the channel so much, and I love that we are all in this together. That is beautiful. You could write a book. People who say that thing where it's like, 56 people in chat but only 49 likes, what the fuck? Don't do that, please. I've been meaning to say something. Don't do that. That's the wrong way to do it. You see what I mean? It's that... If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Udi, I don't need to tell you nothing, my friend. Good job, good job.
His connection to you or to Garcia?
To me, nothing. His connection was, that was Katie's boyfriend.
All right, so Katie was Garcia's child's mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And also was dating Charlie Adelson?
Absolutely.
Did you know?
Patricia Burns. Welcome, Patricia Burns. I'm just going to call you PB. Peanut butter. PB and J. Okay, PB says, the Adelsons are no better than the Wagners from Pike County. Well, at least the Wagners just bust in there with shotguns and took care of business. You know, again, I've got more respect for that. Terrible thing, not condoning it. Terrible, terrible, very, very bad thing. You know, bunch of fucking hicks. But, you know, they got their hands dirty. You can't take that away from them. Yeah, it's really difficult for me to think of many criminals that I have less respect or like, or admiration's not the right word, but do you know what I mean? Like I don't condone any of it, all right? I'm not saying there's a good criminal and murderer, but like the Adelsons, just the whole thing of like, well, we're rich, so we can own things and move the pieces like we're playing on the chessboard, you know, because we can just coordinate because we're in the ivory tower and we call the people and the people do our bidding. You know, that's the worst of the bunch for me. Pike County, at least they just stormed in, kicked the door down, shotgun blasts. I mean, terrible thing. Terrible, terrible, bad thing. Don't do that, please. But, you know, if it's one or the other, you know.
You know, before the murder was committed, did you know how much you were going to be paid?
No.
When did you find out how much you were going to be paid?
When we was driving up.
Okay, so that was before the murder was committed.
Yeah, King Tato.
All right, and so when you were driving up, you found out that
we should show off the King Tato. Okay, how do we do this? Interact. Sometimes scroll works on here, and sometimes it doesn't. We have to scroll. Fuck. Why is it not? Okay, we're just. Ah. Why can't I scroll on there? That's annoying. You bastard. Okay, I'll come back to that.
the job was going to pay how much for you?
Well, they only gave me $37,000.
$37,000?
They only gave me $37,000 for driving to Tallahassee and back twice. That's all he did. How much is that per trip? 37 divided by 4 is what, about 8 grand? 8 and a quarter. $8,250 a trip. That's about well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was the total bill for the job?
I think it was $100,000.
And that was split between who?
3 ways.
You and who else?
Me, Garcia, and Katie.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Neverly darling. I like that too. And it's not any of the moderators that do that thing that's bad, to be honest. It's other people that chime in who aren't even moderators. And I know they're trying to help, but that thing of like, oh, 64 in chat, but only 51 likes? What the fuck? It's very bad. It's focusing on a lack of likes. Whereas what Udi just did was brilliant. He was like, I'm always so impressed how many great likes there are from our great members, and they're all part of our family. It's all positive, right? It's all positive. You never draw on negative points in sales. Come on.
Was this job in any way related to your gang affiliation?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, that was a strong denial.
Me, Garcia, and Katie.
Was this job in any way related to your gang affiliation?
No, absolutely not.
To show you State's Exhibit. Shouldn't have photos as well. Oh. I'll show you 37 and 38. You recognize these photos?
Yep.
Are those photos of the folks that were involved in this homicide?
Yep.
Plus another young lady. Who's that?
That's my baby mama. She's not involved.
Okay, and what's her name?
Jessica Rodriguez.
All right. Judge, at this time I'd ask to move into evidence 37 and 38.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 37 and 38 are admitted.
Publish 37 at this time, please.
You may.
Thank you. Who's that on the far left in the green shirt?
Garcia.
Okay, and next to him,
Katie.
and next to her,
Jessica.
and then that's you on the right.
Yes, ma'am.
When was this photo taken? Let me ask you this, was it before or after the homicide? If you know.
I can't remember.
Did you previously say it was taken sometime after the homicide? You can't remember.
I can't remember.
Okay. States 38. Who are these folks?
That's me and Garcia.
Did Mr. Garcia go by any nicknames?
Tuto.
And what about you? Did you have a nickname?
Tato.
Had you ever been to Tallahassee before you came for this murder?
No, ma'am.
Did you come to Tallahassee one time or more than one time?
Twice.
And both times, was that with just you and Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Both times did you come in a rental car?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had, can we go back to, never mind, just, if you'll.
You know, I was thinking about the rental car, and you know how Jeff Lacasse said, oh, you know, my car looks like a Prius, and I'm convinced that there was an effort to set me up. Well, I think there was an effort to set Jeff up, but I'm thinking less and less that they actually selected a car to look like Jeff's car. You know, if you, it's like I mean, it's a Jeff just happens to drive a car that's common for hire companies to have. You know, if you think about the cars that hire companies have, there's something very common about all of them, unless you are looking for some specific rental. They're all pretty much the same. Standard, mid-size saloon, sedan, whatever. It's, you know, Dan Markel had a Honda Accord. You see, that could be, that if that were a hire car, that would be like a little bit more towards the like executive class of hire car, right? But a Prius or a Nissan Altima or a Nissan Sentra, these are all common. You know, maybe we should check out hire cars. I think it could just be a coincidence, an actual coincidence in a case full of fake coincidences. But just because there's a million coincidences that are fake doesn't mean that we should start throwing in actual coincidences as if they're fake. And I've always said, in my eye, being, pretty much a car guy, sure, I like cars. I don't think a fucking Nissan Sentra looks anything like a Prius. A Prius is like one of the most distinctive car shapes there is. I would never, in a million years, confuse it with a Nissan Sentra at all. So, I mean, if you're gonna pick a car to make it look like Jeff's, pick the right one,
Oh. How long had Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia been, I guess, on again, off again?
Probably 10 years.
So at the time of this homicide, they'd been on and off for about 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you knew her pretty well as far as through Garcia, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she go by Katie sometimes?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, may I publish States 59 at this time?
You may.
Can I turn the thing on? Mr. Rivera, have you seen this exhibit before?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you had an opportunity to take a look at the phone numbers associated with the people on this chart that you know?
I've seen them, but I don't remember none of them.
Don't remember those numbers? Have you previously testified about the numbers?
No, maybe one of them. I think it's probably mine.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to look at the rental contract that you filled out for the rental car that was used in this homicide, the Prius?
Yes.
All right. And that contract has your phone number on it, correct?
Yes.
And if that phone number matches the one up there, would that be the correct number for you at that time? Or at least one of them?
Probably one of them. I have multiple phones, though.
Yeah, you had a couple phones, right?
Yeah.
The address that was on the rental contract. Can I see the rental contract, please? Oh, it is. One moment, I'm going to show it to you. It's Normandy. Something Normandy?
Normandy.
Is that where you were living at the time of the murder?
No. I was just on my license.
So you provided your driver's license to rent the car,
Yes, ma'am.
and you know what number the rental contract is? Never mind, I just found it. Okay, and at the time on your license, I'm approaching with States 58. It had this 1805 Normandy Drive on your license.
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you actually living at that time?
I was living with Jessica.
Okay, and was Jessica's address at 1515 Northeast 135th
Street, yeah.
number 14?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk about the first trip. Do you know the date that you left to come here for the first trip?
No, ma'am.
Does June 4th of 2014 sound correct?
Probably.
All right. How did you get here? Who drove?
I drove. He drove half, and I drove the other half.
All right.
The first
So
time.
you both did some of the driving.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And how did you know where you were going?
Oh, he knew his way.
Who did?
Garcia.
How did he know his way?
He had a piece of paper with an address in the picture.
What can you describe what the piece of paper
It's a
looked
regular
like?
piece of paper.
Like a regular piece of paper like this size?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it white?
Yes.
Was it like this kind of paper that goes in a printer?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was printed on it?
It was the dude's address.
Okay. Was the address printed or handwritten, if you know?
Man, I can't remember.
Okay. Did it have a photograph on it?
Yeah.
All right. So it had a photograph and an address. Anything else written on there
That's it.
or typed?
Not that I remember.
Okay. So that's how you knew who you were supposed to kill and where that person lived?
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't get the address from the prof's blog?
No.
You don't read the prof's blog?
No. We know that.
Are you on the prof's blog server list?
No.
What is your objection? Can you just come sidebar for 1 moment?
I would. Okay.
Sidebar for 1 moment. I'll be with you in a sec, guys. I'm just trying to get this merch sorted. See if we can share that merch. Okay, this might be extremely limited edition, guys. Yeah, if anybody out there wants a King Tato t-shirt, they are available in the merch store right now. But I put it up earlier and it wasn't there when I just went to share it. So I don't know if it got taken down for some reason. Maybe it's because it's a killer and they don't want us like glorifying killers. But I think it's a great picture. We've got King Tato merch. There's all sorts there. There's hoodies, there's long sleeves, there's sweaters, there's stickers, there's coffee mugs, t-shirts, women's t-shirts, King Tato merch in the merch shop right now. merch.truecrimemetrix.com, right at the top of the list. Yeah, quickly grab one before they take it down. I don't know. Did they take it down? Or maybe I just didn't upload it properly. I don't know. But it's right there, guys. If you think Luis Rivera's all right. Or is this promoting murder? I don't know. I don't know. Is it ethically wrong? I don't know. Maybe. But it's right there, guys, in the merch shop. Along with a bunch of other stuff. Look at all our other stuff. So much great stuff. Yeah, check it out.
In your presence, did Mr. Garcia get any information about Mr. Markel from a blog?
No.
Did either of you, to your knowledge, go on the computer and look on his Facebook?
No, ma'am.
Or search him in any kind of way?
Not at all.
All right, so everything you did
Not
from
at
this
all.
piece of paper.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to the address on the paper on the first trip?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to see Professor Markel that trip?
No.
What did y'all do that trip?
We tried to follow him, but we lost him, but
All right, so you saw his vehicle
yes, ma'am.
and tried to follow it.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember where you followed it that trip?
Not that trip. I don't think I remember.
Okay. Did you watch his home? Sit and watch his home during
Yes,
that
ma'am.
first trip? Did anybody get out of the car?
Hey, Victoria Girl's on the way from the grocery store. You know what that means. Victoria Girl only goes to the finest imported delicatessen. The trunk is full of Tuscan potatoes, Kalamata olives, imported Swiss prosciutto, and what else? Loads of great stuff, loads of tasty stuff for the kitchen.
And look around or poke around his property?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did that?
Garcia.
Why didn't the murder get done on this trip?
Man, I can't remember.
Did you have a weapon with you?
Hello, Carrie Brooke. Good to see you.
I think we had, I don't remember.
Did you previously say that you each had a firearm on both trips?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember which weapon was the murder weapon?
Yeah, I remember the weapon.
Where did the murder weapon come from?
I got it.
Where'd you get it from?
On the streets.
Hello, Linda.
All right, and was that in Miami or up here?
Miami.
Okay, so you went and got a weapon. Was that specifically for the purpose of committing this murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that weapon come up here on the first trip with you?
I think so.
All right, and was there another firearm in the car as well?
We had two.
Okay, whose gun was the other one?
Garcia.
You lost me, Patricia. What don't you give a damn about?
And the murder weapon, what type of weapon was that?
38.
Is that a revolver?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Was there a particular plan as far as who was going to actually do the murder?
I was supposed to do it.
Okay, and was it always going to be a shooting?
It was going to be a shooting.
What was the plan? Were you always going to do it in a...
I think Charlie looks scared, Carrie Brooke. I mean, you know, Charlie was acting like a tough guy, but here's an actual tough guy on the stand. You know? And if Charlie does, if he did get off and walked from this case, from this crime, you know, in another 10 years, Luis will be out. Would he be worried? I bet he'd be a little bit worried.
His car, or what? Was there any kind of plan?
No, there wasn't no plan. Really, any plan nothing out.
Yeah, I don't mind that either, Patricia Burns, especially when it's this criminal. I quite like him. So shoot me. But I wondered, like, if the merch shop thought, I mean, they can't be that on top of things, can they? They can't be like doing an AI scan of my store going, hey, this guy's uploading murderers. He's uploading a Latin king. You know, I don't know, maybe it's because of the photograph, but I changed the photograph. You know, I made it all black and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm sure I uploaded it earlier and then it wasn't there when I went to share it and I just had to put it up again. That's why I disappeared for a few minutes, folks. But hey, everybody who wants a Luis Rivera King Tato shirt, go and get one right now because they might take it down again. I don't know.
So it was just going to be...
But once those orders are in, they have to fulfill them. That's their duty. That's their responsibility.
If an opportunity arose, you were going to take it?
If there was an opportunity, we do what we got to do and go.
What if an opportunity arose when the children were present?
I was not doing that in front of the kids.
Okay.
You see, this guy actually has morals. I think the Adelsons, especially Wendy, that sick fuck, would have quite liked it if Dan had been gunned down in front of the kids, you know? That would have just added to her currency of how much sympathy she can get from other people, right? It's all sympathy in the bank. An extra gruesome scene where the children have been traumatized because they watched their father bleed out on the sidewalk when he was dropping the Marfa at Creative Play School. That would have been extra good for Wendy. She'd have been like, hey, look at this story I can tell. this is going to get me extra sympathy and, you know, all that stuff that she does, right? She wouldn't have minded that at all. There'd be no thought for Wendy like going, ooh, that sounds a bit risky. What if something goes wrong? What if something happens to one of the boys? Personally, I don't even think she'd have minded if one of the boys got caught in the crossfire. That's how sick I think she is.
Not me.
Did somebody instruct you on that, or that was...
And I'd let 1,000 Luis Riveras walk free, you know, and not even as redeemed people, but to continue being thugs. I'd let 1,000 walk, and if I can have Wendy in prison, just all prisoners can go. Just there's one big prison, and in it is Wendy Adelson on her own.
It's just a given that you weren't going to do it.
I was not going to do it. Period.
Okay. On that first trip, when you were discussing this
Vivian! Good to see you, Vivian.
murder and the payment, was there any conversation about maybe switching it to a robbery?
Yes.
All right. And who brought up the possibility of switching it from a murder to a robbery?
Me.
And what was your suggestion?
My suggestion was to go back and rob the lady,
And who's the lady?
Wendy.
Okay, because did you believe at that time that Wendy was the one that had this money to pay for the murder?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so your thought was, hey, let's just take the money.
Just take the money.
Don't even have to do a murder, right?
We don't have to do none of that.
And why didn't that happen instead of the murder?
He told me he can't. He just had to do his job. I just went with it because I was my friend, so I just went with the...
Garcia told you that you had to get this job done.
Yes, ma'am.
And the job had to be done for Katie, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's talk about the second trip. Is that when the murder happened, July 16th through the 18th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's the rental car agreement that I already showed you. That was the Prius you traveled up here in?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. And we talked about your phone number, but there's another phone number on that rental agreement that says brother. Is that Garcia's phone number?
I don't remember.
Okay. Who would be the brother that you would put on the rental contract as going with you?
Garcia.
Did you take phones with you when you came to Tallahassee? Cell phones?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took our own personal phones attached to our names and drove the car that we rented in our names, and then we got our hotel. So they got our hotel. They got Shadrick Nobles to get the hotel so it wouldn't be in their names, but everything else was in their names. I mean, why not just, make it a full house and get the hotel in your own name? Why not leave a business card at Professor Markel's house next to the dead body?
And did you have the phones on or off for the actual homicide?
It was off at that moment.
And did you take the same guns with you that second trip?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you stay while you were here?
In the hotel.
Was there an incident while you were here for that trip prior to the actual murder where one of the guns was discharged in the Prius?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell us what happened?
What a gun.
Patricia, it's coming. Man, it's just one thing after another at the moment. There's several key videos we've got coming out. I can't keep doing this thing of just going over testimonies and commenting on it. I really want to put out some theories and dispel other people's theories that are bullshit. Let's get some strong opinions out there. So I'm working on some videos for the Wendy vomit and also some other topics, key questions about key players in the case. But the thing is that it requires video edits, because we've got to take key information from a bunch of different videos, and it's not really possible to do that effectively and cleanly live, just streaming off YouTube videos. So while I'm prepping that in the day, we're covering testimonies at night, because we can just put it on, we all hang out, we share ideas, and it's great, and stuff does come up. But yeah, Wendy's vomiting theory will be coming out soon on True Crime Metrix. Everybody subscribe to the channel. And but first we're going to be looking at whether Wendy Adelson has been worth anything to the state to get her immunity deal, to prevent her from being arrested so far. I mean, what the fuck? How is she still out? Because going through her testimonies of all 3 years, I find that what could be considered useful to the state in the prosecutions of Garcia, Magbanua, and Charlie, all of it falls into one of about 3 categories, if we're really nice. If we're really, like, what is the word? If the bar is set very low, you know? It falls into about, it's the bad blood, it's the divorce, it's the relocation, it's all of these things. But all of the things are verifiable without her. You know? So why has she got this immunity deal? That's the video that's coming out. I think possibly it'll be ready for tomorrow, but I keep saying that. And Wednesday is going to be 1 year to the day that Donna Adelson was arrested. So for that special occasion, we're going to go over her arrest video again and comment on that. And maybe even Marissa Descalzo in court being a tough guy, trying to be a tough guy, trying to impress her client with her boom, 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 fast pace, super fast pace Miami. I'm a lawyer from Miami, you know. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll get there when we get there. It's coming. It's in the pipeline.
Gun went off. Garcia was playing with the gun. I was driving, and he put a hole right through the floor in the passenger side.
Were you actually out on the roads
Yes,
when this
ma'am.
happened?
I was driving.
And did it have an impact on your ability to drive the car?
Yeah, it hit the gas line.
All right. So how'd you get it fixed?
Oh, he flagged somebody down there. We met.
The only thing better than this would be if Garcia had shot himself in the leg. Or the foot or something. I mean, can you imagine how loud that would have been in a fucking Prius? A gun goes off in a Prius. And he blows a hole in the gas line. I mean, I'm amazed that they didn't blow themselves up. You know? Jesus Christ. Could anything else go wrong on this trip?
First time, some people, and they gave him a ride to the AutoZone to get a piece of hose to connect it back.
So somebody gave you a ride to the AutoZone.
Hey, Addie Zanone, good to see you.
Yes, ma'am. Not me,
Was
him.
there-
I was in the car. I never got off the car.
All right, you stayed with the disabled vehicle.
Yes, ma'am.
And did Garcia come back and do something to the car?
Yeah, he fixed it.
And it was able to be operated after that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, check this out, guys. If you do enjoy the show, if you do enjoy True Crime Metrix and hanging out with all of us here, please do consider buying us a coffee or two on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. Great way to support the channel. We're still looking for those lifetime members. The King of Bangladesh, the Prime Minister of fucking Turkey, you know, whoever else it is. If you're a monarch or high up in government with money to burn, just head over to buymeacoffee.com memberships, sign up for a lifetime membership, or support the channel with just a cup or 1 or 2 cups, 10 cups, whatever it is, you know, your choice. Mochaccino.
Did y'all follow Dan Markel at all during this second trip?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you follow him this time?
Follow him to the daycare and to the gym.
Was there a
Charitable. That is the word I was looking for. Sort of, I think. It works. Thanks, Eddie.
reason that the murder had to get done on the day it did?
It was just the right thing, the right opportunity, I guess.
Okay. Did you have any information that the victim was going to be leaving town the day after the homicide occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, meeting.
Is the answer struck?
The answer is not struck. You need to rephrase your question.
All right. So, how did you find out that the victim was leaving town the following day?
I can't remember that good.
Was it from a blog?
Objection, Your Honor. Meeting.
It's not leading, Your Honor.
Roll.
Was it from a blog?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what blog was that?
The blonde was Wendy.
I think it's just, let's just pause for a moment, guys, and bask in that line. You know, it's been bouncing around a lot, that line. The blonde was Wendy. Was it from a blog? The blog was Wendy. The blonde, the blog. What does he think she said?
No, I was saying from the computer. Did you research
Oh,
it
no,
on
no,
the
no,
computer?
no.
Okay, so somebody gave you the information.
Yeah, somebody
A
else.
person.
A person.
And how did you actually talk to the person?
No, ma'am.
Who talked to the person?
Tuto. Garcia.
Garcia talked to the person.
Talked to
All
Katie.
right. Okay, so Garcia got the information from Katie.
Yes, ma'am.
And do we know where Katie got it from?
I don't know.
Okay, were you present when Garcia talked to Katie and found out we
Yes,
got to
ma'am.
do it today?
Yes, ma'am. He was on the phone.
I'm sorry?
They was on the phone speaking.
He was talking to Katie on the phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were present for that.
I was in the car.
Who was driving the green Prius on, like, whenever you were following Mr. Markel right before the murder?
Me.
Did you go to, I think you said the daycare. Where else did you go that day?
The gym.
Have you seen the video surveillance from the gym? And
Yeah, they went to the gym. They parked outside the gym waiting for Markel to do his spinning class or whatever it was. They sat in the parking lot of Premier Fitness for an hour. Premier, whatever. And Garcia, who's a tall, big guy, right, gets out of the Prius and takes a piss in the bush. You know, and they that's on surveillance. Surveillance cameras. These fucking hitmen, you know. Do you think that might draw attention? A nice membership gym in a good part of town, and this, you know, Puerto Rican looking fellow gets out of a Prius that he's been lurking in for an hour and takes a piss in the bush. I'm surprised the manager didn't come out and, like, inquire, ask them to leave. You know, are you a member, sir? What are you doing pissing in our bush? Oh.
in this case,
If I have seen it now,
yeah, where the green Prius is at the gym. Have you seen that?
I've seen it.
And is that you driving that Prius?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is Garcia in the vehicle as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Did you know whether or not the kids were in the car at the time you were at the gym?
Now he dropped them off. I seen him when he dropped them off in the daycare.
So you actually saw the kids go into the daycare?
Yes, ma'am.
Ho!
So is it after the daycare that you
Someone
proceed
just
to the
bought
gym?
3 coffees. We'll check who that is. Let's check who that is. It is El Reese. Or Rice. El Rice. Thank you, El Rice. Thank you for the coffees, El Rice. That's fantastic. Good job, El Rice. Good job.
Yes.
And what about after that?
We followed him to his house.
All right, so did you wait in the car while the victim went into the gym and worked out?
Yes, ma'am.
And did y'all know at that time, like, we're going to do it when he comes out of
No.
the gym, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Nah.
So you're just following him to see where he goes.
To see where he goes.
And where did he go?
To his house.
Did you see the bus video that shows the Prius shortly before and shortly after the homicide?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you driving the vehicle at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what happened when you got to Mr. Markel's driveway.
Well, he had turned he turned the block before. We kept going, so we went in front of his house. So when he pulled in, we pulled in right behind. I pulled in right behind him.
Is what you're describing, you entered his street from two different directions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you met at his, did you meet at his driveway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you pull in behind him, what happens next?
Garcia jumped out and shot him.
How many times?
Twice.
Where was he standing when he fired the shots?
Right in front of the driver's side, right there, by the driver.
Did you see what the victim did during this attack?
He put his hands up.
How was it decided that Mr. Garcia would end up being the shooter instead of the original plan, which was for you to do it?
I was driving. I ain't had no time. He jumped out and did it. He had the gun the whole time.
All right, so either one of you were willing to do it when whoever wasn't driving when the opportunity arose?
Maybe, but it was really his job, so he did it.
You mean why was it his job?
He's the one that was getting paid, but he knew about the whole thing.
Well, you were getting paid too, right?
Yeah,
But he secured the job.
Yes, ma'am.
The bus video that we looked at, one of them shows the passenger side.
Victoria girl, you're incredible, babe. Look at that, working your way up to lifetime membership via the Super Chat. Yes, you are. Damn hell, yes, you are. You're almost there. That's wonderful, Monica. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Someone in a white shirt moving around a lot right after the homicide. Can you explain to the jury what was going on in the car at that time?
He was trying to hide the gun.
And that's Garcia?
Garcia.
Where did he put the gun?
Right on the front, in the passenger side, right under the rug.
Okay, what ultimately happened with the gun?
We threw it away.
Where?
In the river.
On the way back to South Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where y'all went when you left Tallahassee?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you turn your cell phones back on?
You see, this is the kind of dedication we're looking for, guys. All you other guys in the chat, look at Monica. Look at one of our key supporters. What we need you to do is do the same thing on buymeacoffee.com. You know, that's exactly what this channel needs. You know, and why? To support the channel, to keep it going, to make it even better than it is. You know, what do we need? We need several pieces of equipment, right? Several pieces of equipment to bring you better content. You see, it's not like we're going to be buying a Ferrari. You know, it's actually for you that we're gathering these funds for. You know, it's like it comes to us, and then we give it back to you in the form of better content. You know, that's what it's about, guys. Yeah. Now there is a serious plan for True Crime Metrix, and you know it is going somewhere. It's kind of treading water at the moment, you know. But in the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot of changes. But those changes really need to be fed by the community. You know, I put in all my time, but you guys need to help us out some as well. So please do head over to buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. Support the channel on there. We're still looking for those lifetime members. We know that there's rich benefactors out there. We know that there's people that love the channel. We know that there's people that want to see it do really well and get even better and dominate the industry. That's what we should be doing. So please do help us out on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix.
I think we turned them on right away, I think.
After leaving Tallahassee?
Yeah. If I remember, I really don't remember, but it got turned on.
Sometime after the murder, they got turned back on.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember who made the first phone call out of the two of you?
I didn't make no phone call. He did.
Who did he call?
I think he called Katie. Well, he called Katie. He
Say
called
that
Katie.
again?
He called Katie.
He called Katie. And were you able to hear the conversation with Katie?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that conversation?
He told her.
Honestly, can't thank you enough, Victoria girl. You're really helping us out, and you know, it's just unbelievably appreciated, really. And I'm very touched by how much you enjoy the show, and you know, what can I say? You know, thank you so much.
Everything is done. She like, I know, and he like, where the money?
Okay, let me back you up just a little bit. How did she know it was done?
I think she got a phone call right away before we did.
All right, but somehow she indicated she knew.
Yes.
All right, and you asked about the money. Did you personally ask about the money, or was that Garcia?
That's Garcia.
What did she say about the money?
He'll get it tomorrow.
Did you get it tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
On the way back from Tallahassee to Miami, did you stop in Pembroke Pines at an ATM machine?
No way back.
Yeah.
I know we stopped.
I'm going to show you states 39 through 45. Have you seen these before?
Yeah. That's it. I seen them.
And are these appear to be ATM
Yes, ma'am.
images?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the date on the ATM images?
7/18/2024.
2024?
I mean 14. Sorry.
All right, that's the day of the murder, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is this the green Prius that y'all came to Tallahassee in?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
All right, are these fair and accurate photographs of you in the...
thanks so much. Right in. You're maintaining your position, maintaining your front. Let's just double check that. Yeah, I think you're still up front. Good job, riding. Way to keep up front, riding.
in the green Prius on the day of the homicide?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to introduce and publish states 39 through 45.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
39 through 45 are admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may.
Sure. Publishing states 39 and 40, please. $41, please. Make that bigger, please. Who's pictured in this exhibit, Mr. Rivera?
That's me and Garcia.
Who's that in the foreground, closer to the camera?
That's me. I'm the driver.
Okay. 42, please. Who's that in the passenger seat?
Garcia.
43, please. And 44. Did you and Sigfredo Garcia go out that night when you got back to Miami?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember where you went?
I think we went to a bar.
Was Katherine Magbanua with you that night?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know where she went that night?
No, I don't know.
All right. The next morning, is that when you saw her again?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell us what happened the next morning.
The next morning I woke up, I went to the barber shop, and she went to my house and took the money.
She had the money at your house?
Yeah.
And did you go home and get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go home with some purpose?
Purpose to pick that money up.
Yeah, why were you worried about the money?
I was worried about my baby mama taking it.
You were worried about your baby mama taking it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Jessica, the one we saw in the,
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
photo? So if she'd seen that money...
If she would have seen it, she would have probably took it.
Okay.
But she,
Yeah, Addie's known the notion, theory, or whatever, wherever it came from, that Wendy wanted to find the fucking body, is one of the points that we're going to be taking down on this channel. I can't stand hearing that opinion. I think it's the stupidest opinion. You know, not you know, I'm just talking about the opinion. Anyone who might have that opinion is a separate issue. But I'm just talking about the opinion. Someone could have that opinion and be a great, nice person, but still have that opinion. And it's that opinion that we're going to be taking down.
you never seen it.
How much money was in there?
37. I think it was 35.
37,000? 35,000. And how was it packaged?
All hundred staples.
All $100 bills?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you mean by staples?
They were all stapled. It was $1,000, each $1,000 staple in the top corner.
All right, so you got 35,000. I think you previously said you got 37. Where did the other two come from?
Garcia gave it to me.
Why did he do that?
She gave it to me.
So he just gave you 2 additional stacks out of his cut?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how much he got versus how much Katie got?
No,
Can you not remember that?
I don't remember.
Okay, but
What do you think about that? I mean, why would Garcia give him an extra $2,000? Just to keep him sweet? Like, maybe he's done him a solid in the past. I mean, he all he did was drive up. He's already getting $35,000, and he gets an extra $2,000. Why?
it added up to 100. Is that what you previously
Yes,
said?
ma'am.
Did you buy anything with your cut of the money?
Just a motorcycle.
All hundreds. All hundreds. Just a motorcycle. Just your average gold motorcycle for my club, my gang club, family gang club, gold motorcycle.
Approach you with states 46 and 47. Is that a picture of the motorcycle you bought with the murder money?
That's Garcia's.
That's Garcia's. What about 47? Is that your motorcycle there?
That's mine, yeah.
Okay, and this is Garcia's. And then what about this Monte Carlo in the background? Did y'all buy that too?
That's Garcia's. He got it.
Did he buy that with the murder money? Or after the murder? Shortly
Yeah.
after the murder?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Are these fair and accurate photos of those vehicles?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to move into evidence states 46 and 47.
Any objection? No objection. States 46 and 47 are admitted.
I publish 46, Your Honor.
You may.
And 47, please. Did you make any changes to your cell phone after the murder? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Did you meet with investigator Jason Newland with my office to look at this, what I've marked as state 63, this exhibit regarding the calls in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And do these initials next to these calls indicate that you've authenticated the voices that are highlighted?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, good news, guys. Somebody just picked themselves up a beautiful charcoal gray. Where is it? Well, another color. But someone just picked themselves up a King Tato t-shirt. So we know that they can be purchased, which is fantastic, because I think it got taken down earlier. I couldn't work it out. I was like, is it because it's a murderer, or is it because it's a copyright? How is this copyright? King Tato t-shirts available in the merch shop, guys, along with, what is the other one? The other fantastic one. That thing with the cupcake. Powers of contempt will be exercised. We got all sorts of criminal quotes, all stuff from the trials that we love. You know, these little sound bites. What have we got? We got the steak dinner now. Hey, let's show the steak dinner. That's a good one. How do we do that? 1 second, guys. 1 second. We need to sell one of these fantastic t-shirts. Man, sometimes this website really sucks. Oh, there we go. There we go. So we need to just share that. Hold on, guys. Hold on. There. I want to fuck you on the steak and fuck you on the potatoes. That's a quote from the Sarah Boone trial, remember? And we've got a picture there with a steak and a potatoes. I mean, who would not want one of those to wear in public or to work, to your professional job? Pick them up now at merch.truecrimemetrix.com. And play this video.
Judge, I'd ask to move into evidence state 63.
Any objection? No objection. State 63 is admitted.
So you were able to recognize the voices of Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia on those recordings?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever had any kind of contact with any member of the Adelson family?
No, ma'am.
I know, right? Why the fuck would you go to an ATM? The one of the places that is absolutely guaranteed to have a video surveillance right on your face. Every ATM in the country has a camera built into it. That is something you should avoid. You know, they shouldn't have even stopped for gas. Like, Jodi Arias had at least the right idea to her plan. Fill the car with gas tanks. What do you call it? Gas cans. So you don't have to stop at a gas station at all in your trip to Arizona. Right? These guys stop at an ATM when they've been given a ton of money in cash, in stapled money. That's another video we should do, guys. That just a list of every single thing that these hitmen did wrong and what I would do differently as a completely untrained hitman.
During the time that Katherine Magbanua was dating the dentist, were you around her during that time?
I mean, I've seen her a few times.
Okay, and what was the context of, like, what was the occasion that you would see her if she was with the dentist?
Not with him, but I seen her when she come look for Garcia.
Okay, so if she was doing something related to the kids or something like that?
Yeah, that's it.
During the times that you saw her while she was dating the dentist, did she ever brag to you about the dentist at all?
No, ma'am.
Did she ever tell you the dentist has a lot of money?
No, ma'am.
The dentist has a safe full of cash in his home?
No.
So do you even know who the dentist is? I mean, do you know who he is here
Never
in the
met him.
courtroom?
Never met him in my life until today.
Okay.
Oh. He's not happy with Charlie, is he? Look at him.
So do you even know who the dentist is? I mean, do you know who he is here
Never
in the
met him.
courtroom?
Never met him in my life until today.
Okay. Well, the dentist's lawyers have indicated that you and Garcia got this idea on your own to come to Tallahassee and kill the professor. Is that true?
No. Not a good one.
Did you kill him and then try to get Katie to blackmail the dentist?
No.
When you suggested to Sigfredo Garcia on the
Yeah,
way up
that's a good point, Lenny. It's really that simple, isn't it? That's exactly what it is. Garcia was high, relieved it was done, and generous in the moment. Yeah, take another 2 stacks, dog. You did me a solid.
it would be easier to just do a robbery. Would it have been easier to rob the dentist back in Miami than to come up here to do a murder?
I never said nothing about him because I don't know him, but I said, let's go rob the lady.
Right.
Just like
but
that.
If you had known that it was actually the dentist that had the money, would you have been just as happy to rob the dentist?
Absolutely.
Would that have been less trouble than coming to Tallahassee to do a murder?
Yes, ma'am.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Take your time.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Ralph Brown, do you wish to begin your cross-examination this evening?
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Take your time.
Judge, I think it makes sense to wait till Monday.
Very well. Members of the jury, we are going to recess at this point. Cross-examination of the witness will take place by the defense on Monday morning. Once again, I'm going to give you the same instruction that I've given throughout. You're not to discuss this case
There he is, the big man. Look at him. Big man on a big chair.
with each other or anyone else. Do not watch the news coverage. Do not seek out any information about this matter. Have a restful weekend. We will see you on Monday morning. Please report at 8:30.
Have space down on your chairs. Just slide this over. Thank you.
Everyone else can be seated. Do the parties have anything to raise before we go into recess?
No, Your Honor.
Enjoy your weekend. Mr. Rauschbaum, the juvenile concert awaits.
I can't wait.
What was that? Mr. Rashbaum, the juvenile concert awaits.
Recess.
No, Your Honor.
Enjoy your weekend. Mr. Rauschbaum, the juvenile concert awaits.
I can't wait.
Does anybody know what he just said? Did he say the juvenile concert? What is that? Why is he saying that? Okay, we're skipping to Monday. Monday. We need a new link. Where is that link? I just checked out Crime and Coffee's channel, by the way. She's covering Boned Alive murder trial. South Carolina, Craig Lewis. Okay. I haven't seen that. So what is it? We need Charlie Adelson trial. What day are we? Here we go. Got it. 2 seconds, guys.
I think I'm now like a normal person.
Okay.
So we'll give it a shot, Your Honor.
Were you yelling and screaming at the juvenile concert?
He's still on about this juvenile concert. What is he talking about? What does that mean anything to anybody? Juvenile concert?
It's part of
She didn't see him.
That was a good show. Regardless, does parties have anything to address this morning?
No, nothing from the state, Your Honor.
nothing now, Your Honor.
Okay. Are the jurors already going to the restroom?
That happened for a while.
Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Rivera up, get him in place.
Are you going to tell me?
Yeah,
Thank you.
We've also got Judge Everett merch in the merch store. Slept like a baby, including blankets and pillows. Yeah, check it out, guys. merch.truecrimemetrics.com. Or if you'd rather support the channel with coffees, buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics. I just hate the way Charlie Adelson moves. I hate everything about him.
Can you roll a little bit closer?
Oh, Juvenile is a rapper from the early 2000s. Well, thank you, Victoria Baudelaire. Is that what they were referring to?
One in the gallery this morning, once the testimony has started, if you step out, you're to remain outside until the witness has finished being examined.
Oh, and thank you, Kayla. I just saw you also let us know about Juvenile. Yeah, what is that about the blinking thing? I mean, it's so ridiculous. I mean, the only time I've ever seen people blink like that is, I don't know, like people that are maybe mentally deficient or something, and they've got a kind of, it's their tick. I've seen it on like kids in school or something. I don't know. I don't believe it, Addy. The only way your thumbs could be too fat is if you're trying to type on an Apple Watch.
Everyone can be seated. Good morning, members of the jury.
Good morning.
I hope you had a restful weekend. We are going to pick back up where we left off on Friday with the examination of Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rauschbaum, you may cross-examine when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, if the behavior panel couldn't figure it out, I have no chance. So this is a major witness for Daniel Rauschbaum to take down, right? This is direct testimony that Lewis is given. I mean, do you call that direct testimony? I mean, pretty much. He's saying he knew about the plot from the dentist, Katie's boyfriend. That's a key direct witness against his client. This is a major, probably. Well, there were a few, weren't there? There was Katie as well, huge witness against Charlie. Jeff Lacasse, huge witness against Charlie. You know, more so than any of the cops or anything like that. Because as far as the cops stuff was going, Rauschbaum's tactic was almost like to agree with them and say, no, I admire law enforcement. I admire their hard work in this case. Because we're good citizens and we're all for law and order. And but they got it wrong. They got it wrong. It was an extortion. The stapled money, it was his money. You know, they just changed the narrative as far as the testimony from the cops and forensics. But with Lewis, Katie, and Jeff, Dan Rauschbaum had to try and do his lawyer tricks and fucked it up. I mean, what a terrible lawyer. I think Charlie should have hired Christopher DeCoste. I watched Christopher DeCoste's 2022 cross-examination of General Isom today, and it is amazing. I mean, it is just about as good as you could get. And Isom is super rattled. We should maybe review that soon.
Morning.
Good morning.
Before we get into your testimony, I want to clarify one thing. You didn't extort Charlie Adelson, right?
No.
One moment. Veronica, are you having problems still here?
Man, Addy, I'm so behind the times. I still live in a world where texting on my phone, texting on my watch doesn't even make sense to me in my head. I don't even have a basic watch, like with hands. Never mind a super fancy digital, you know. Sometimes I've had a look at them in the tech shop and I'm like, wow, it's got a touch screen and everything. And little pictures of people's heads. It looks so fancy. I just don't know if I'm ready for that. I think I'll start with a Timex. Or maybe I'll go real fancy and get a Swatch. But I'd have to be in an airport for that, I guess.
Hearing. All right. If you can assist him. Mr. Rivera, make sure you speak as loudly as you can, right, sir.
Get much closer.
Thank you.
And the answer to that question was no, right?
No.
See, did you hear that? Thank you. Now just don't close your eyes. Just squint and imagine that Luis Rivera is in a fine restaurant and he's just had a menu placed in front of him, right? That thank you was exactly appropriate for that scenario.
You speak as loudly as you can,
right.
sir.
Can get much closer.
Thank you.
And the answer to that question.
Thank you. So, what do we have on this menu? We have tacos, soft shell, hard shell, fish taco, chicken taco, beef taco, red and green peppers, and salsa. I'll take the fish taco, hard shell, crunchy, with salsa.
Question was no, right?
No.
You were paid $37,000 in your role in the murder of Professor Markel, right?
Yes.
You were supposed to be paid $35,000.
Yes.
Sigfredo Garcia, the shooter, gave you an extra $2,000, right?
Yes.
Your understanding was that the total payment was $100,000, correct?
Yes.
And that it was a one-time payment.
Yes, sir.
And you were told that you, Sigfredo, and Katie were hired by a lady to do a murder for hire, right?
No. If I was told by the lady?
No, I'm sorry. Let me slow down. You were told by Sigfredo that all of you were hired by a lady to do the murder, right?
Yeah.
That you were doing it so that she could get her kids back.
Yes, sir.
And all of your information came from Sigfredo, Garcia, and Katie, correct?
Sigfredo, yes, sir.
Okay. And all of Sigfredo's information, to your knowledge, came from Katie, right?
Yes, sir.
Everything you knew about the murder plot came from Sigfredo.
Yes, sir.
That's the other thing that's relatable about Luis Rivera, because he's not, you know, he's not taken in by fucking Daniel Rashbaum's $2,000 pinstripe suit. All that stuff about elitism, it doesn't wash with Luis Rivera. He's not impressed. He's not threatened. He just sees Rashbaum as the little, short, hairy, weird, fuzzy man that he is.
According to you, Katie was the mastermind.
Yes, sir.
She was the one, as you've said, running the shots.
Yes, sir.
Anything that Sigfredo or you did in connection with the murder had to be cleared through Katie, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo and Katie lied to you about a lot of things about this murder, right?
Lied about what?
Well, let's go through it. For starters, during the first trip in early June, Sigfredo told you that you were going to do a robbery, right?
Yes, sir.
Not until on the way up did you find out that you were going to do a murder.
Yes, sir.
Before the July trip, you didn't want to go, right?
Yes, sir.
And to convince you, Sigfredo again told you that you were just going there to scope things out.
Yes, sir.
During the second trip, the day before the murder, you drove by Professor Markel's house. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that at some point after you arrived at Markel's house, after noon on the 17th, you saw a woman and two kids walking on Trescott by the house,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And the woman looked at you as the Prius passed and immediately got on her phone.
Yes, sir.
You testified that you asked Sigfredo what was up with the lady. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that that's her. That's the guy's wife. That's the one that wants the kids back.
Yes, sir.
You asked Sigfredo what the lady was doing there on Trescott with the kids.
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that she came there to make sure that everything was all right.
Absolutely.
Meaning all right with the plan.
Yes, sir.
As you sit here now, you're aware that the woman and the kids on the street was not the same lady, right?
I don't know if that was her or not, but she looked at my car.
It's possible that Sigfredo lied to you, right?
Who knows?
Another lie that Sigfredo and that was it. Oh, sorry. Strike that, Your Honor. Your understanding is that the money for the murder would be paid by the lady, right?
Yes, sir.
Again, your understanding came from Sigfredo.
Yes, sir.
You didn't go with Katie to get the money, right?
No.
So you don't know where she got it from?
No.
And you don't know what happened when she got it?
No.
Sigfredo never told you that he and Katie got more than $100,000 the night of the murder, did he?
No.
That would make sense why you got an extra $2,000, right?
Maybe.
And Katie never told you that they got more than $100,000 the night of the murder, right?
No.
Sigfredo never told you that he and Katie were getting paid every month after the murder, right?
Never knew nothing about that.
You didn't know that they were getting paid $3,000 a month.
No.
You didn't know that they were getting paid $1,000 in Adelson Institute checks, did you?
Nope.
But you saw that Sigfredo was spending a lot of money, right?
Yes.
You saw that Sigfredo even told you that he had paid for Katie's breast augmentation surgery, right? Her breast surgery?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. If he told me about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told you he paid for it, right?
That's what he said.
You didn't know that Katie was getting money from Charlie Adelson every month in an extortion plot, did you?
No.
In May of 2015, you get arrested on a federal RICO case, right?
Yes, sir.
And you were detained.
Yes, sir.
And you wanted to get out of prison, right? You wanted to get a bail.
Yeah.
You started thinking about the fact that Katie and Sigfredo seemed to be spending a lot of money, right?
No.
Okay. So let's briefly recap all the lies that they told you. Not that you made, but that they told you. They lied to you about the purpose of the trip going to Tallahassee, right?
Hey, I just put a here's a discount code for the merch. For the wonderful merch. Where's the merch? Hang on. Okay. So there's the merch store, and the discount code is love. Here it is. Love TCM. Discount code. One day only. Get your merch. Love TCM discount code.
Yeah.
They lied to you about who the lady was on the street.
Yeah.
They lied to you about the amount of money they received.
Yeah.
They lied to you about getting money every month.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it possible that they lied to you about the purpose of the job to begin with?
They don't even got the money. Where they want to get the money from?
Isn't it possible that you thought it was a murder for hire, but it was really an extortion?
Extortion to who?
Charlie Adelson, not from you, but from them.
Okay.
Isn't it possible?
I don't know.
By the way, on Friday, you testified that you just wanted to rob the lady, right?
Yes, sir.
But Sigfredo was adamant. We can't rob the lady. We got to do the murder.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that because he wanted to keep on getting money every month?
I don't know.
But you would have just robbed him, right?
Yep.
Would have been a lot easier, right?
Real quick.
Would have been a one-time payment, right?
That's it.
Couldn't have gotten paid over time, though, right?
I don't know.
Well, if you rob someone, it's hard to keep robbing them over and over and over again.
Absolutely,
right?
Of course.
All right, so I want to back up a little bit, and I thank you for your honesty there.
Luis Rivera doesn't give a fuck about this guy.
You've never met Charlie Adelson, correct?
Nope.
You've never seen him before this case?
Nope.
You've never spoken to him by phone?
Never.
And you've never communicated with him in any way?
Never.
You've never met Donna or Harvey Adelson?
No.
That's the discount code on the screen there, guys. Love TCM for all you people in the chat.
Nobody.
You never spoken to them by phone?
I didn't meet nobody.
And the same goes with Wendy Adelson, correct?
Nobody.
But they've taken down my goddamn King Tato shirt again. I wonder why that is. I'm going to have to contact them and say, why are you taking my King Tato shirt down?
You know Sigfredo your whole life.
Yes, sir.
You're like brothers.
Yes, sir.
You've known Katie since she and Sigfredo started dating when they were teenagers.
Yes, sir.
You consider them to be married.
Yes, sir.
Sigfredo was deeply in love with Katie, right?
Absolutely.
He would do, as you've said, anything for her, right?
Anything.
He was, as you said, blind over her, right?
Yes, sir.
Katie treated him badly.
Yes.
She messed up his head, as you've said, right?
Yes, sir.
At some point, you learned from Sigfredo that Katie was having a relationship with someone she worked with, right?
Yes, sir.
Sigfredo told you that Katie was cheating on him with someone called the dentist.
Yes, sir.
According to what Sigfredo told you, Katie was sleeping with the dentist at the same time she was sleeping with Sigfredo, right?
Yes, sir.
So Sigfredo knew that Katie was cheating on him.
Yes, sir.
And he wasn't too happy about it, right?
Nope.
Sigfredo told you that the dentist had money. Let me rephrase. Sigfredo told you that Katie told him the person she was with was rich.
No.
Well, he told you that Katie would flaunt and show off to Sigfredo that the person she was dating with had money, right?
I don't think so.
Sigfredo was devastated when he learned about Katie's new relationship.
Yeah, anybody will, right?
I agree. Sigfredo started drinking too much.
Every day.
He started doing drugs.
Yes, sir.
He was acting crazy and unstable.
Yes, sir.
He couldn't keep a job. In fact, you had to fire him from a job, help get him fired from a job, right?
Yes, sir.
Because he was drinking even while at work.
Yes, sir.
And he was fighting a lot.
Yes, sir.
Katie told Sigfredo that she would only take him back if he did this job for her, right?
Yeah.
Now, before Sigfredo was fired from his job, I want to take you to March 14th of 2014. Okay? I'll refresh your memory about it.
Let's go.
There was a day when you were driving home from work and Sigfredo was driving you and he took a detour to a restaurant on Miami Beach. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And you and Sigfredo were in Sigfredo's truck, a Dodge Ram.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sigfredo had been drinking.
Every day.
And you were supposed to be headed home, but Sigfredo drove you to the restaurant.
Yes, sir.
You parked near the restaurant and you could see people sitting at tables eating outside. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And one of those people eating at the restaurant was Katie.
Yes, sir.
She was with 3 other people.
I remember that.
Do you remember they were all white?
I don't remember.
Okay. Sigfredo pointed Katie out to you and said that one of the people there was the dentist. Do you recall that? And while you were sitting in Sigfredo's truck watching Katie and the dentist, Sigfredo told you he was going to run him over when they got up, right?
Yes, sir.
And what did you tell him in response?
I ain't going to do it. I'm going to get off the truck.
But he was serious.
Yes, sir.
That's what he was like, right?
God, imagine if that had happened. You know, he's got a Ram pickup. You know, we've seen the tables outside Yardbird. Imagine if he, just drove into the whole patio of Yardbird. I mean, that would have been problem solved for Dan Markel, huh?
He was angry.
He was a good man. But anybody get angry if your wife is doing another man.
And he was angry. He wanted to hurt the dentist, right?
Yeah.
Are you aware that he actually did try to run him off the road a couple months later in July 1st, 2014? Did he ever tell you about that incident with the jet ski?
No.
Okay.
And Charlie's face, I mean, it needs to be slapped. doesn't it? One of those slaps where you use both hands, just clap his head together. What is he trying to convey with his body language? This is how he's thinking. I've got to look really innocent, he just doesn't know how to see himself from anyone else's shoes, you know. He must be sitting there trying to put on the appearance of someone who is innocent and got extorted, and that's what he's going for. He's been sitting in his cell thinking how he should sit in court in front of the jury, right? And this is what he's come up with? I mean, it's terrible.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yeah, I wonder if that had happened, Patricia, if Garcia and Tato went to get Charlie after the hit, how would that have affected the investigation? They'd be like, okay, so we followed the bad blood, and this guy Charlie, who said he looked into hiring a hitman, but a TV was cheaper, he's now dead. And Dan Markel's dead. I don't know. The investigation would have probably gone towards the same thing, right? Would have been a good twist, though.
Now let me take you a little bit back to the first trip, okay? First trip to Tallahassee. Sigfredo came to your house and said he had a job in Tallahassee and asked you to go with him, right?
Yeah. Yes.
He told you that if you took a ride with him, that he would give you around $35,000.
Shout out, mentor lawyer. Look at him there.
$1,000, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. He didn't initially tell you what the job was, right?
Nope.
He rented the car and he picked you up, right?
Yes, sir.
At some point during the trip, he told you that it was not going to be for a robbery, but for a murder, right?
Yes, sir.
He told you that they were going to kill someone because there was a lady who wanted custody of her kids back, right?
Yes, sir.
You didn't know anything about the person that you and Sigfredo were supposed to kill, right?
I didn't know none of these people.
The only thing you saw was a piece of paper that Sigfredo had with a photo and address on it, right?
Yes, sir.
And the photo looked like a headshot, right? Like from chest up?
Yes, sir.
Something you would get off the internet?
I doubt that, but wherever you got it from, you got it.
Your understanding was that Katie gave Sigfredo that piece of paper, right?
Maybe.
You and Sigfredo left for Tallahassee after midnight on June 4th, which was a Wednesday, right?
I don't remember.
Fair enough. I wouldn't remember either.
Come on, man. 9 years ago?
Well, the next day after you arrived, you got to Professor Markel's house early in the morning and waited for him to come out, right?
Yes, sir.
And you saw him leaving the house with 2 kids, and you followed him to the daycare, right?
Was this the first drive?
First drive, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you lost him, right?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo wanted to go back to Professor Markel's house, right?
Yes, sir.
And you refused. You didn't want to go back.
I don't remember.
You told Sigfredo you didn't want to kill a man over 2 kids.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to do it in front of the kids.
So you headed back to Miami.
Yeah.
And that's when you suggested doing a robbery of the lady rather than killing the guy. Right?
Absolutely.
But Sigfredo said it had to be a murder and he didn't want to rob her, right?
Yep.
And that was odd to you.
Yes, sir.
As you previously have said, you assumed there was, quote, more to it, but you never asked Sigfredo, right?
Never asked him.
When Katie learned that the murder didn't happen on the first trip, she was upset, right?
Probably.
Now let's fast forward to July 16 to 18. And I'm not good with dates either, okay? A month or so after the first trip, Sigfredo came to you and said that you had to go back to Tallahassee, right?
Yeah.
He told you that he needed you to go back because he needed the money, right?
Yes, sir.
You told Sigfredo that you didn't want to go.
Yes, sir.
So he lied to you and told you, we're not going to do a murder, we're just going to do a lookout. We're just going to watch the guy. That's what he told you at first, right?
Yeah.
The first time you went to Tallahassee, Sigfredo rented the car for you, right?
Yes, sir.
But the second time, Sigfredo told you that you had to rent the car under your name.
Yes, sir.
Did Sigfredo tell you why he wanted you to rent the car under your name?
I never asked him questions.
Now, he actually gave you the cash to rent the car, right?
Yep.
Did he tell you what color car to rent?
No.
Did he tell you what type of car to rent?
I don't remember.
The cash he gave you was in a crumpled bunch, right?
Shit, I don't remember though.
But let me ask you this way. The cash he gave you to rent the car, it wasn't stapled.
Nah, I don't think so.
Now, you rent the car and you head up to Tallahassee, right?
Yeah.
And you arrive at around 1 a.m. on Thursday, July 17th, right?
I don't remember the time, but
Early morning.
I don't remember.
Okay.
We got there.
Gotcha. You testified earlier that you didn't want to kill Markel during the first trip because he had his kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told Sigfredo that during the first trip.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do it in front of the kids.
I believe so.
And we already talked a couple times about seeing the woman on the street during the second trip, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, on July 18th, the day of the murder, you saw Professor Markel with his kids.
I think Daniel Rashbaum might be the worst lawyer I've ever paid attention to. And it's difficult to pay attention to him because he always loses me, which is a terrible quality to have in a lawyer. Christopher DeCoste never loses me. You know, even Tara Kawas keeps me going and, like, kind of wanting to hear what she's going to say, even though she's not very good either. But she's better at seeming like she might be good. But when you actually listen to her, there's no substance. But she keeps you engaged at least. This guy just loses me. And he's not making any points. It's like he's just filling out his time up there. All he cares about is that he's got... Donna Adelson looks at him like he can do no wrong. He's very, very good at getting that older Jewish lady to think that he's doing a really good job for her. That's his only skill. That is his only skill. You know? I really can't think of a lawyer that I've seen that I'm familiar with in some great way that I could say that Daniel Rashbaum would be better than. You know, I'm trying to keep my eye out for something he does that's good or worth mentioning. You know, there's nothing yet.
Yes, sir.
Again, you followed them to the daycare to make sure they were dropped off.
Yes, sir.
And then you went to the gym,
Yes.
and then you followed him back to his house where he was murdered, right?
Yes, sir.
I never watched that trial, Patricia Burns. I just couldn't stand the shape of that guy's head. Certain trials just turn me off. The Murdoch trial, I couldn't stand to hear that guy talk. I tried to watch his direct testimony. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
And Sigfredo was the shooter.
Yes, sir.
He wanted you to be the shooter, but you didn't want to do it.
Yes, sir.
You testified that when you and Sigfredo were on your way back to Miami, Sigfredo called Katie.
Yes, sir.
And are you aware that the state has call records which put that call at 12:30 p.m.?
I don't know the time.
Okay. Will you take my word that the call records for purposes of these questions show that that call happened at 12:30?
If you say so.
The call wasn't on speakerphone, right?
No.
And you were driving on the highway at the time, right?
Yes, sir.
With the window cracked open a bit.
Hey, if we could get just another 6 likes on the video, guys, that would be great. That would really help the channel out. Please do leave a like on the video. Anyone new to the channel, if you want to sign up and become a member, you can do that on YouTube or Patreon or buymeacoffee.com/truthcrimemetrics. If you want to support the channel, buy me a coffee or 2. That'd be great. Merch in the merch store. All the links are in the description. Thanks so much, guys.
I don't remember.
Fair enough. But it's your testimony that you were able to hear some of the conversation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you think you heard Sigfredo tell Katie, it's done, right?
I heard.
You heard Sigfredo tell Katie, it's done.
Yes. He's sitting next to me.
And what's that?
He's sitting right next to me.
Understand. And you think you heard Katie respond, I know.
I think. I heard her.
Okay. When you were interviewed by law enforcement, in September of 2016, right?
Yes, sir.
That was 2 years after the murder.
Yes, sir.
We're now 8 years after the murder, right?
Yes.
Your memory might have been a little bit better then. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And during that interview, you told law enforcement that you didn't hear the I know comment. Do you recall that?
No.
Nonetheless, in order for Katie to know, she would have had to be told by someone before 12:30 p.m., correct?
Yeah.
After Sigfredo hung up with Katie, he told you that you would get your money tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
And you were upset about that.
Yes.
You were upset because you didn't understand why the money wasn't already secured.
Oh, thanks for the comment, Derek. But, look, guys, this is the thing. I'm a little bit worried about the channel because I'm kind of stuck at the moment doing just busking with the commentary videos. And we can't just keep doing commentary videos, guys. We've got to spend some time getting some real good content out there, some theory content. There's already a bunch of... There's about 4 or 5... major videos that we've got in the making for the Adelson case, and then there's other cases as well that we're looking at. But just a reminder for the Adelson case, we've got Wendy's video coming out with, is she useful to the state? Is it worth an immunity deal? Is it worth not arresting her? A very close look at anything that she's said in all 3 trials that she's testified in as to what is the value of this. Because to my mind, everything I've discovered so far is verifiable without her. The state could tell the story without her. So the question is, what is going on there? Then we've also got some stuff to disprove, like stupid ideas like Wendy wanted to find the body. We're going to be having a long list of things that show that that's not the case. We've got what happened at the Uvia dinner. What made Wendy throw up at the Uvia dinner. Long, major theory coming out on that I've been waiting to do for ages. Now, the reason that we have to keep busking and have to keep, I personally, for me, it's great that you're all still here, but I feel like standards are slipping on True Crime Metrix. Why? Because people aren't buying enough coffees. Okay, we need to buy some time to get some of this content out, because there's just not enough hours in the day to do those great videos that we've got in the making and to spend time busking on this channel. It's fun doing the commentary, but we need to do more for the channel. We've got to change the format up a bit and do some actual post-production, or pre-production really, and then put that out as live content. That's what we've got in the making, guys, but we need your support. We need everybody's support on buymeacoffee.com. That's the best way to support the channel. If we just get like 2 lifetime members on buymeacoffee.com, that is enough to put this channel into the next zone, and we will dominate the market. We've already conquered this world, The bowling ball is rolling. We just got to knock down those Skittles now. Knock down those Skittles. Oh, did someone say Skittles? Judge Everett. We see you, Judge Everett, with those sweets in your pocket. Yeah. What else have we got coming out? Loads of other stuff. No. Apart from the Adelson case, we've got major cases to cover that we haven't even started yet. Casey Anthony, Michael Dunn, Dalia DiPolito, Mark Redwine. Who else have we got? I think we should go back to Grant Armado and do that case again properly from the top. Tell the whole story from the beginning, because it's just such a key case. Another Florida. We're also heading to Colorado. We've got a lot to do in Colorado. Yeah, we've still got to do our full tour of every single state. There's just so much to cover and find the time, but we need to buy some time. We need to buy some time to make that great content. Plus the equipment. If we could just expand our equipment to bring you better content, that would help the channel massively. And, who wins out of this in the end? You as the viewer, as the viewers. It's all for you, baby.
Absolutely.
So yeah, please do support the channel on buymeacoffee.com, Patreon, memberships on YouTube, super like, super thanks, super sticker, super YouTube, super subscribe to the channel, like, share, leave a comment, and click that like.
Because when you do a murder for hire, you get paid up front.
Yes, sir.
You don't get paid over time.
Yep.
You don't get paid after the fact.
Yep.
The whole point of a murder for hire is you get paid, you do a killing, and then you separate.
Yes.
That's the reason for that type of crime, right?
I guess.
And in fact, you told Sigfredo that since the job was finished, you were supposed to be paid right there and then.
Yes,
Isn't that
sir.
what you told him?
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk a little bit about the payment. You got paid the next day, right?
Yep.
And Katie dropped off the money, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was stapled.
Yes, sir.
And that's the first time you had ever seen stapled money, right?
Yes.
You had never, on any of these other trips, you had never seen stapled money.
Yeah,
What other
Lenny.
trips?
Lenny says that it's like he's talking to a 5-year-old, and it seems to me that he needs the language slow and dumbed down so he could follow. Yeah, it seems like Rashbaum is patronizing Luis Rivera, but what he's actually doing is patronizing the Tallahassee jury, right? Because they're all dumb hicks from their smelly, dusty town, where nothing happens. It's only the state capital of Florida, for fuck's sake. But, Charlie Adelson's always going, Dan made the case for a 5th grade level. He should have made it for a 3rd grade level. Tallahassee, they don't know how to read. They can't understand. They didn't take notes and they didn't listen. They had their minds made up. He's actually patronizing the jury by it, and the method he's using to do that is to patronize Luis Rivera. And Luis Rivera doesn't need to be patronized. I think he's the smartest guy in the room, apart from Georgia Kappelman and Judge Everett and Sarah Dugan and some people in the gallery like Ruth here. Hello, Ruth.
Well, the first trip to Tallahassee, the second trip to Tallahassee ever in your life.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen staple money.
Yeah, all of Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia's fuck-ups, and then Charlie Adelson pays them with his, calling card, signature, stapled money that nobody does. Nobody has ever stapled money together. What a stupid thing to do. You're going to pay... You go to all of the trouble of washing the money and, physically washing the money with dish soap so there's no DNA, so it can't be traced or anything like that. And then you staple the money, which you're known to do, which is like your thing of how you package and store your money, is to staple it together in $1,000 bundles. That's how you pay the hitmen. It's unbelievable. And those bills are still in circulation. Everybody in Florida right now, anytime you get a $100 bill, check and see if it's got the 2 holes in a corner for staples. If anyone finds one of those, post it on Instagram, hashtag #TrueCrimeMetrix, because we would love to see it. They're still in circulation. They're out there. Someone's got one in their pocket right now. A $100 bill that has 2 staple marks in the corner that was used in this case. Crazy, huh?
And when you got paid, Sigfredo gave you an extra $2,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, back pain forever. Maybe the thing for your back would be a Judge Everett pillow, which you can get at merch.truecrimemetrics.com.
Throughout the years after, Katie and Sigfredo got back together, right?
Yeah, I was in prison already.
But you saw that they had moved to a new apartment?
Yeah.
That they had bought a new large TV?
TV.
They bought a nice TV, right, after the murder?
No, I was in prison.
What about before you went to prison? Did you see they bought a new large TV?
He's like, what do I give a shit about their TV? You were in prison, were you? But did they tell you that they bought a nice TV with the money? From the TV murder, they bought a TV? What the fuck, Daniel Rashbaum? What are you talking about, Daniel Rashbaum? Let's go back and just... I love Luis Rivera's going, what the fuck? I was in prison. I don't know about their TV. What is it? What was it? A Toshiba? A Toshiba or a Sanho?
Throughout the years after, Katie and Sigfredo got back together, right?
Yeah, I was in prison already.
But you saw that they had moved to a new apartment?
Yeah.
That they had bought a new large TV?
TV.
They bought a nice TV, right, after the murder?
No, I was in prison.
What about before you went to prison? Did you see they bought a new large TV?
I mean, they had nice stuff.
They started to get some nice stuff, right?
Yeah.
Started to spend some money, right?
Yeah.
One last area of questions, I believe, and it'll be quick. In 2014 and 2015, during the time of these events, you were a member of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
And that's a crime family, right?
It's a family, yeah.
Commits crimes, right?
I mean, every gang does.
It's a gang.
I guess that's what you want to call it. I call it a family.
In fact, you were the head of the North Miami branch of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yeah, we got over 100% likes, guys. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rivera, the defense characterized a lot of things that Garcia told you as lies. Do you know that those things were lies?
No.
So when he said, "Oh, that's the lady, she's looking at us," do you know if he really thought it was the lady or not?
No, it was the lady.
He thought it was the lady, right?
It was the lady.
Okay.
It was her.
All right. And how long after the murder did Garcia seem to have a lot of money? Like, for years after the
Hey, Pinto.
murder? For weeks after the murder?
Only weeks, months.
Okay, so weeks or months he was spending money like crazy.
Man, imagine that. Imagine being Ruth Markel there and thinking, okay, my son's dead, and the guy who killed him got a few weeks of blowing money out of it. You know, a motorcycle, a fucking Chevy Monte Carlo.
Right? But after that, he was broke again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was broke again after that, but Dan Markel was still dead.
When you were in the car with Garcia at the restaurant where he was talking about running the dentist over,
Yes, ma'am.
what was he acting like?
I mean, he's himself. You can never tell. But he drinks a lot. He does a lot of coke. But he was frustrated.
Okay, so he was jealous,
Absolutely.
angry,
Yeah.
pissed off,
hmm
drunk,
Every day.
okay, and heartbroken, right?
Yes.
All right. What about on the trips to Tallahassee? Was he like that on those trips?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so during the trips to Tallahassee, was he talking about the dentist?
No, we barely spoke.
All right, so when y'all were sitting out in front of the restaurant, he was talking about the dentist, right? At that time.
Yeah.
And specifically mentioning how Katie was dating the dentist and that was upsetting him.
That's all he said. He didn't mention him too much. He's like, that's the dude she's cheating on me with.
All right. And what about on the trips to Tallahassee? Was he going on about that on the trips to Tallahassee? No. Did he mention on the trips to Tallahassee, like, this has something to do with the dentist, or we got to kill this guy because I'm trying to harm the dentist?
No. To harm him, he never said nothing about him.
Right. One moment, please, Your Honor. Did this murder have anything to do with the Latin Kings?
No, absolutely not.
Were you asked to threaten anybody related to this murder? I mean, were you ever asked to threaten the dentist because you're a Latin King and he might be afraid of you?
No, I don't even know these people, man. The Latin Kings ain't got nothing to do with this.
No further
I promise you that.
Will the witness be recalled by other parties?
Potentially, Your Honor.
Mr. Rivera, you may step down from there.
I think the Latin Kings should give Luis a pass. You know, okay, he went against the code and he what is the word? Cooperated with law enforcement and, you know, got his friend in trouble and his wife, but, you know, he was facing the death penalty. And the Latin Kings ain't got nothing to do with this crime. The Latin Kings should just let him off, you know. Don't kill him. Don't even hassle him. You know, do something nice for him. Cook him a meal. Let him borrow a magazine in prison to read or to practice reading, you know. What else could they do? Just, you know, maybe write a nice song about him, and they could all sing it together when he gets out. You know, the Latin Kings could be outside the prison gates with a cake and, you know, maybe a nice gift, a watch with an engraving, "Welcome back, we've missed you," something like that. You know, let him off. Let him off.
Witness.
He calls Katherine Magbanua.
Do we want to do Katie?
That's fine.
She's kind of annoying, especially in this year. But I like her hair. Let's have a look at her hair. Was that fancy fiction?
We're able.
All I saw was a blonde with a determined stride. Even when I see that in Portugal, I think, is that fancy fiction? Just a blonde with a determined stride. Charlie Adelson stands up, but with his hands in his pockets, you know. Did no one tell you that that's not a good look if you're trying to show respect? All rise for the jury. And then you put your hands in your pockets. Unbelievable. I mean, this guy missed the basics, right? Spoilt fucking rich kid. And alright, this guy with the black shirt and the chinos has got his hands in his pockets, but he's not on trial. Yeah, there's the Patreon memberships, guys. Fantastic Patreon membership. Exclusive content, merch discounts, and much, much more. We're going to be doing so much more on Patreon soon. Don't worry about it, guys. It's all coming. It's all coming. Sign up! Look at Sarah Dugan. She fine. She fine. So this is the first time Charlie has seen Katie in the same... I mean, he's seen her on TV, obviously. But it's the first time he's been in the same room with her in 7 years. And it's the first time she's seen him in 7 years. He hasn't been on TV, on trial. God, they're having a big break here. Let's go. Let's go. Uh-oh. Yeah, she's lost a bit of weight. I like her hair, though. What kind of conditioner do they get in prison? I mean, that looks like some healthy hair. That looks like, you know, just the right amount of, I don't know, hydration?
Witness may be seated. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, please say your name and spell your name.
Katherine Magbanua, Katherine Magbanua.
I see that you're
It's
in
a mouthful, isn't it? Katherine Magbanua.
jail clothes. Are you currently in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you in custody for?
The murder?
Are you doing a sentence for murder?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you in custody for? The murder. Maybe if I don't move my lips much when I say it, it won't mean the same thing. The murder.
Convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a trial in your case?
Yes.
Yeah,
Ma'am.
2 of them.
Did you testify?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified on your own behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And when you testified, were you truthful with the jury?
No, ma'am. I was
Kind of looks good in purple, though, huh?
not.
Did you take the same oath that you just took today in your own trial?
Yes, ma'am.
It nicely accents her skin tone. The purple shirt.
What was your defense when you were tried?
That I had nothing to do with it.
All right. That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers,
Yes,
but you
ma'am.
weren't in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that true?
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
What was your defense? It wasn't me. Yeah, I think we've heard that one before. It wasn't me. Shaggy.
It was not.
Were you in the middle?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And didn't you also testify in the trial in which Sigfredo Garcia was convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And what was his defense?
He said it wasn't him.
That he had nothing to do with it.
That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers, but he had nothing to do with it,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor, repeat.
Overruled, Ms. Calvin, make sure you use any questions.
And was that defense truthful?
No, ma'am, it was not.
So Sigfredo Garcia was involved.
Yes, ma'am, he was.
So why tell the truth now?
I believe that the truth needed to come out now so that the family can get some type of closure.
Why didn't the truth need to come out last year or the year before or the year before that?
I was trying to defend myself.
You were trying to get off.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think you'd be successful in your trial with that defense?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Has anyone
Yeah, my lawyers told me it was a sure thing. That all I had to do was get up there and they'd take care of the rest. And I believed them twice, even though I was offered complete blanket immunity from prosecution. What the fuck?
promised you anything for your testimony here today?
No, ma'am.
Weren't you originally offered immunity for cooperation in this case?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
But you didn't take us up on that
No, ma'am, I didn't.
because you thought you could get off completely.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And now you're doing a life sentence.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Did Charlie Adelson threaten to harm you if you told the truth?
No, ma'am, he didn't threaten me.
Did anybody threaten you to keep your silence?
No, ma'am.
Did anybody promise you anything if you remained silent all these years?
I wasn't promised anything, but
Yeah, somebody get Soap some sweet treats, will you? She does drink coffee, But she also likes cakes, bones, and sausages, chicken wings. Please do support soap, support the channel to support soap on the channel. Coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. We could really use the support injection, guys. It is like that. It is like that.
I mean, I wasn't promised anything.
Go ahead, finish your thought. You weren't promised anything, but what?
I thought everything was going to be okay.
You thought you'd be acquitted.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so did you know Dan Markel?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you have any personal beef with him?
No, ma'am, I did not.
What was your motivation for becoming a part of this murder plot?
Financially.
So not as a favor to Charlie Adelson?
Objection, Your Honor.
What is the objection?
I'll rephrase it, Your Honor. Was it a favor to Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay, but your primary motivation was not favor to Charlie Adelson?
Well, yes, ma'am, it was. And financially.
All right, because you were going to get paid for your part?
Yes,
How much
ma'am.
did you get paid?
I don't know the exact amount.
What was your relationship to Charlie Adelson?
He was my ex-boyfriend.
When did you meet him?
I believe that was in 2013.
Do you know what month?
Has to be around September.
Can you point him out and describe what he's wearing?
He's sitting over there with a blue jacket and a blue tie.
Let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will reflect.
Show you what are marked as states 48. Recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How do you recognize it?
That's when we went to Key West.
Is that a fair and accurate photo of you and Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it
Is
is.
that when the two of you were taken when the two of you were dating?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this time I'd ask to move into evidence states 48.
I know, Ryden and Carrie, twice, even after your mistrial, you were offered the plea again, and you still said no. Man, I mean, that is a serious gamble. I've heard her say that, or I think we heard Yindra say that she thought that Charlie was gonna, send someone to kill her kids or something like that. Katherine always says that she was trying to save Sigfredo from the death penalty, but he'd already received his sentence after her mistrial and before her retrial, so they're not going to re-sentence him to death after that.
Objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
48 is admitted.
Do we have that for publication?
One boob, Carrie. He paid for one of them.
So, was this photo taken before or after the murder?
Before.
Who came up with the idea to kill Dan?
And her boobs look fine there. I mean, what's wrong with those? Can we zoom in? They look great.
Markel.
Charlie.
So, Sigfredo Garcia didn't come up with the idea?
No, ma'am, he did not.
Luis Rivera didn't come up with the idea?
No, ma'am, he did not.
When did the defendant first bring this idea up to you?
My first recollection was around Halloween of 2013.
Around Halloween or on the actual?
On Halloween, yes, ma'am.
All right. What's your recollection of how that came up?
We were at a Halloween party in Lincoln Road, and right before we were about to go, he got in the car with me and he asked me a question.
What was the question?
Do you know anybody that can harm someone?
And did you know anybody that could harm someone?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Who was that?
Sigfredo.
And at the time, what was your relationship with Sigfredo?
It wasn't the best.
But he was the father of your children, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So were you dating both men at this time, or were you only dating Charlie?
No, I was only dating Charlie.
Okay. And so he meaning the defendant, initially said, do you know anyone that could harm someone? Was he aware of your connection to Sigfredo Garcia when he made that statement?
Not that I know of. No, ma'am.
Did you suggest Sigfredo Garcia at that time to the defendant?
No, ma'am.
What did you say?
I just said yes and kind of left it alone.
All right. Did it go any further than that at that time?
Not that night.
Right. Did you know who he wanted harmed?
At
that time?
No, ma'am.
All right. Had you become aware during the course of your relationship with him that he had some kind of issue going on with his sister's ex-husband?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What did you learn about that?
He was just stating that his mom and dad was stressed, and that his sister was having problems with her husband and custody of her 2 children.
And when did you learn that the person that the defendant wanted harmed was this ex-husband of the sister?
I believe later on.
All right. And when did you learn the name Dan Markel?
It wasn't until, I don't know if it was on my trial or when Sigfredo got arrested.
Okay, so even when he was killed, you didn't know the name of the person that was being killed?
Yes, I never knew his name.
How did the defendant refer to this person, if not by the name Dan or Danny Markel?
Wendy's husband.
Okay. So you knew that the person that was going to be initially harmed was Wendy's husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you knew that there were issues, or what did you know about the beef with him?
He painted this picture that this was a terrible man and making his family go through a lot custody-wise with his sister.
All right, and when he would say these things to you, is it in the context of his mom specifically or his family in general?
I believe it was more towards his mom.
Meaning what?
That his mom hasn't been sleeping, his mom is not eating. I know his dad wasn't the best health either, but he would refer to his mom a lot.
All right. And the reason she wasn't sleeping or eating, did that have to do with this ex-husband of Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever tell the defendant who it was that was going to be doing the job?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Why didn't you say the name Sigfredo to Charlie Adelson?
I always referred to each other as my friend. Neither one of them wanted to really hear each other's names.
And why is that?
Because Sigfredo was the father of my kids, and I was dating him at that time. I was dating Charlie at that time.
Okay, so Sigfredo Garcia, did he have strong feelings about the defendant?
Yes, he didn't like him.
All right, and is that because you were dating him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and vice versa, you're not going to talk about the child's father with the new boyfriend either?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is it true then that you were sort of walling these two off from each other before the issue of the murder and the conspiracy ever even arose?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that pattern continue throughout the murder conspiracy?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Do you think Charlie Adelson knew that it was your child's father that you were going to?
He might have had an idea, but he just never said it out loud.
There's one phone call between, I think it's from Sigfredo Garcia to Harvey Adelson, the father of the defendant. Do you know anything about that phone call? That was on July 1st of 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you know about that phone call?
From the trial, what I remember was that Sigfredo had contacted or was trying to contact Charlie, but we were in a heated argument.
Hey, if anybody has seen the where is it? Let me see if I can show it. The email from Jack Campbell to somebody on Reddit that popped up, but everyone was looking for the original email that Jack Campbell was responding to. How can I bring that up? Let's have a look on Reddit. I wrote to the guy, and he's just got back to me with a load of information. Here it is. Mr. Fiddler. How do we share this now? Mr. Fiddler, thank you for your interest in this case. I am glad you are enjoying the media reports. Your signature indicates that you are an engineer from New Zealand. I have always wanted to go there. I have no education or experience in that field, and your conclusions and analysis suggests you have no legal training or experience with murder investigations in Florida. Please understand that our team is comprised of professionals who are actually embedded in this case and have been working on it since the day of the murder. They are doing outstanding work on this case, and unless you actually become a witness, you do not need to be sending unsolicited advice or criticism in the future. When I mention being a witness, please understand me to mean that if you actually see or hear something about the murder firsthand, I would suggest that you not attempt to interview anyone nor come to Florida and view the scene or physical evidence. Any such action would be both obstructive to the legal proceedings and possibly constitute violations of laws. I hope you continue to enjoy the video coverage of this trial and wish you good luck in the future. Jack Campbell, State Attorney. Just fucking bizarre email from Jack Campbell. I mean, I can't believe some of the stuff that's contained in it, but what do I expect from a hack like Jack Campbell? His name should be Hack Campbell. Anyway, I wrote to the guy who originally wrote to Jack Campbell because I wanted to know what the original mail was, and he's just sent me like 3 long emails. I don't know, maybe I should try and make sense of them before reading them out. It's not exactly clear. Let me see if I can read it. I'll just put the video back on.
Argument at that time, we were kind of in the middle of the street, and I guess it's the first thing he looked up was his work number.
All right, so you say you're in a heated argument. Is this the confrontation that occurred where you and the defendant were going jet skiing?
I believe that was after.
It was after that incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how many interactions personally, face-to-face, did, to your knowledge, Charlie Adelson have with Sigfredo Garcia?
That was probably the only one that I remember was that jet ski accident.
Accident?
Or like the confrontation.
All right, tell us what happened at that confrontation.
Oh yeah, we should post on Patreon to our members. Exclusive content, guys, on Patreon. Sign up for Patreon, become a member today, support the channel on Patreon, support the channel on buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics. Please do support the channel, guys.
Fredo had just picked up the kids, and he was eating at a corner pizza place with the kids, and he saw that Charlie was coming by to go pick me up, and I guess saw the jet skis in the back of the car. So he loaded up the kids and cut us off, was screaming a couple things out loud, but we didn't really hear anything because our windows was up.
All right. Did you say he cut you off? Do you mean in traffic?
In the back street of where I lived at that time.
All right. And when you say he cut you off, did he run you off the road or something else?
He kind of just went right and blocked the road in front of us, so Charlie had to kind of do a 3-point turn and go around the other way.
Did the two men actually get out into the street and confront each other?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Okay. Were any actual words exchanged through the windows?
Through the windows, yes, but I had my window up, so we didn't know what Sigfredo was saying.
All right. So Sigfredo shouted some things out the window. Did Mr. Adelson do the same?
No, he did not.
And what were the things that were shouted out the window? Were you able to hear them or not?
I didn't hear anything.
All right. And at this point, this is July 1st of 2014, the plot is already underway to do this murder, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Does Sigfredo Garcia know that he's doing the murder for Charlie Adelson?
To my knowledge, he might have had an inkling about it, but I don't know. That was never spoken of.
Okay. The killers, and when I say the killers, I'm referring to Garcia and Rivera, knew they were doing something for a lady to get her kids back. Do you know how they knew that information?
I believe it's because of the envelope that Charlie gave me to pass over.
So you didn't relay that information to them that it had to do with a lady and her kids?
I might have mentioned it to Sigfredo, yes.
Okay. So if you mentioned that to Sigfredo, would you be, I guess, were you intentionally trying to characterize this job as being related to someone other than Charlie Adelson?
I believe so, yes.
Is that because Sigfredo Garcia would not have wanted to do anything to help out Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, do you think Sigfredo knew that this lady with the kids was somehow connected to Charlie Adelson?
I believe so.
All right. And there was going to be a lot of money paid for this job, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know anybody else with that kind of money or that might have had that kind of money to get this job for them?
No, ma'am, I did not.
All right, you mentioned the paper. Luis Rivera said there was a paper that Sigfredo had when they came to do the murder. Do you know anything about that paper?
No, ma'am, I don't.
All right. Did you provide a paper to Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, I did.
All right, and when you say you don't know anything about it, but you gave it to him, you obviously know something about it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell us I know what you're trying to say is you don't know what was on the paper.
The content of it, yes.
Tell us how you got the paper.
How Windows was up. Oh, Gary, I love how you always notice those things. What did the judge say the other day, Judge Wheeler? He said something funny. He said something really Tallahassee. Our windows was up. I love that. I love that. Can we have merch out of that? Our windows was up. I love that.
Ms. Kappelman, please open it to questions.
Tell us how you came into possession of this paper that the killers had.
Okay. One day, just a random night that I was over at Charlie's house, he had a manila envelope that was sealed. He told me, Katie, do not open it do not touch it, do not look inside it. I didn't print this paper out from my office, printed it probably from another office, and basically give that paper to the other person.
All right, and who is saying this?
This was Charlie.
All right, this defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
So he says to you, I have this paper. How does he give it to you?
I had a diaper bag, so he showed me the envelope, and I was like, just put it in there.
Did he express any concerns about fingerprints being on the envelope or the contents?
Yes, ma'am. He said he wore a glove so that there's no fingerprints on it. He was very specific about me not opening it and not looking inside it. And he also told me that he didn't print it from his...
Yeah, he didn't print it from his office. He wore a glove. He dish soaped the money. He was specific about Katie not touching it. But it was all stapled together in $1,000 bundles, which is his trademark. I mean, just put your business card in with the cash, Charlie, for fuck's sake.
Office.
All right, and what about licking the envelope?
And that he didn't lick the envelope.
He said he did not.
Yeah, he didn't lick the envelope. He didn't lick the staples. He didn't lick the money.
He did not lick that.
And what was the purpose of that?
I guess his DNA.
Okay. So did you touch the envelope?
It was in my diaper bag, but I don't...
And the other thing is, you couldn't have any bag with more DNA on it than a diaper bag. That is going to be covered in DNA, like someone's toothbrush. You know, yeah, just keep the money with your toothbrush. In your toiletry bag, or your diaper bag, or, you know, the fuck? Just rub the money on your pillow when you go to sleep.
I don't remember if I never opened it, but I might have touched it just to stick it inside in my diaper bag.
And did you deliver the envelope to Sigfredo Garcia?
I must have contacted Sigfredo and just told them, hey, come by the house. And
thanks for the likes, everyone. Now just get those coffees in. We just need one lifetime member on buymeacoffee.com, guys. One lifetime member. And then we've got the time. We've got the time to not panic and to bring fantastic content, because this can't go on like this, guys. I feel like we're just gonna fade out. We're gonna fade out to nothing, and we'll be no one. It'll be like, who's True Crime Metrix? Oh, I remember him. He used to be great. Then he died and disappeared, and no one knows where he is. You know, we need to stop just doing commentary. I need to prepare something to say that's worthwhile. And I've got a lot to say, but we need the time, guys. Just one lifetime member on buymeacoffee.com. Who is it? Who is it? Who's going to save the channel? It could be you. It could be you right now, sitting there at your computer, on your phone, thinking, shall I save the channel? Maybe I should, but I don't know if I should. Just go for it. Go for it. Save the channel. Become a lifetime member on buymeacoffee.com. And, you know, forevermore, you'll be remembered as the person that saved True Crime Metrix and made it what it should be. The best true crime channel covering this case and others, guys. You know, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. That's what it needs. That's who it is. That's who it is. It could be you. It could be someone else. It could be the person next to you right now, sitting there, sitting on the fence, thinking, yeah, I really love True Crime Metrix, but I don't know if I love him that much because, you know, he just does commentary. We don't want to just do commentary, guys. We've got things to say. We just need some support from the audience, from the world, coffee support, lifetime membership. Let's go.
And then, you know, he was kind of in and out of my life, so he'd pop up. He literally got the envelope. I was like, you have something inside that bag. And then he grabbed it, stuffed it in his pants, and left.
Okay. In regards to the June trip that the killers made, did you provide Garcia or Rivera with any money for expenses associated with that trip?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where did you get the money from to do that?
From Charlie Adelson.
Can you tell us about that? What was the context of you getting that money?
Sigfredo would just ask me, hey, I'm going to need some money. I need to go out of town. And I'm like, okay. So then I'd go to Charlie, or I'd be at Charlie's house, and I'll tell him I need some money for the expenses.
And he gave you some money?
Yes, ma'am.
About how much money, if you know?
I can't recall, but it was a couple $100.
A couple of $100 for 2 people to drive to fucking Tallahassee. Would that cover the gas? Okay, so what is it? Like, it's 450. Let's call it 500 miles each way. That's 1,000 miles. Well, I'm not exactly sure what the price of gas is in the States, but here 400 miles would be a full tank, and a full tank is about 140. Let's call it 150. So that wouldn't even be enough for the gas there and back. Never mind the hotel, food, ducking low, you know. I mean, you need at least a couple of thousand for that trip for the hitman. You know, easy. Couple of $100. What the fuck? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Neverly darling. A second monitor is a must. Now that we've got this new software, there's so many windows on this screen that it's impossible to keep track. We definitely need a second monitor. But the most important thing at the moment is time. I need to like go away for like 3 days and not stream and make something happen. But it's difficult to do that at the moment because it's like we got to keep chasing those little coffees, you know, 1 cup here, 3 cups there, 5 cups there. It's just, you know, it's chasing the little coffees. We're kind of stuck doing that. We just need one lifetime member to come forward and step up to the plate and take one for the team, you know, for all of us. For almost 3,000 subscribers, there's got to be one person out there that's willing to step up and be that champion. Be the Metrix champion, you know. And we could get a monitor. Oh, yeah. No, it comes down to this: equipment and time. But I think the most important thing is time. We could probably cope without the monitor for a short bit more time. But anyway, it'll come when it comes.
Started back in October of 13 and doesn't get done until July of 14. Can you describe whether there's any pressure as time is going on and this thing is not getting done?
Trying to remember, like in the beginning of the year, I don't think there was really much. I mean, he's been planting this.
And I'd also really love to stop pushing coffees, you know. I get sick of hearing myself do it, you know. It's like, yeah, buy me a coffee, blah, 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 blah. I hate doing that. And I'm sure no one else likes it either. It feels like half the show is buymeacoffee.com. You know, I'm sorry, but, you know, it does have an effect, you know. Whenever I say it, more coffees come in. If I don't say it, less coffees come in. So, you know. But really, it should be just great content. And great content will speak for itself. And the algorithm, everything like that. The list of ideas that we've got to do, but it takes time to produce. Can't do it on the live because we've got to take many clips from different videos. I've got to go through them all of them, you know. It takes time, you know. Really, if someone came forward today or tomorrow or Wednesday as a lifetime coffee member, that would buy enough time for me to go away and not come back until we've got a fucking brilliant Adelson video with an interesting concept, with backed up material, with evidence. You know, we're going to build the whole case out of this thing, man. That's really what I want to do. That's, you know, that's what should happen. That's what this channel should be about. Not just busking for coffees with, hey, let's watch Luis Rivera's 2023 testimony, you know, just because it's fun to talk about. Hey, let's cover the fucking Wendy Adelson interview for the 4th time. I mean, maybe we should do that. You know, it never gets old. We always find new things. But really, there's enough to work on. There's enough to work on.
The seed in my head that this needed to get done, this needed to get done. And I guess towards probably around June, July is when he was a little bit more adamant about this job getting done.
Okay. And when you say he, you're talking about who?
Charlie.
Did you ever have any contact with any other Adelson about this job?
No, ma'am.
In the context of, you know, this needs to get done, this pressure getting put on you, is there ever a mention of the mom, Donna, or the divorce situation in the context of getting it done?
At that time, not that I could recall.
Will you publish 35, please? Is this you on the left side of the screen?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Right. And was this picture, where was this picture taken?
This was in South.
This is another thing we've got to cover, guys. Here's another theory video, part of what we will be covering in the Uvia dinner, right? As soon as we get the time to make it, and to get that time to make it, we need a lifetime member on coffee.com. But there's a huge video, very, very interesting idea to discuss here. Huge, huge. And I'm convinced I was the first person to have this concept, right? I think someone else has briefly touched on it and put a video out, but not much. But that was after I originally had the idea. We've got to find the time to make that video, man. You know, it's going to be huge for the channel as well. It's not just going to be great for you guys to absorb as viewers, but it's going to be huge for the channel. Why? Because it's brand new. No one is talking about this. No one. That's exactly what we need. Someone, step up.
Beach, I believe the building that they were living at where Charlie's parents were living at.
Is that the Icon?
I don't think that was the Icon. It was somewhere in First and Ocean.
Okay, so a different residence.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and this photo, was this the first time you'd ever met Wendy, or had you already known Wendy before this photo?
I met her one time prior to this because I believe this was in Father's Day. So I met her around spring break when I had dinner with her and Jeffrey.
Okay, so the Yardbird restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so this was the second time you'd met her.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a relationship with her outside of her being Charlie's sister?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you communicate with her by phone or through any apps or anything like that?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you receive any communication from her specifically about the homicide?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did Wendy ever give you any money or other gifts?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Did anybody pay you for your part in the murder other than Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am, they did not.
All right, and the payments from Charlie Adelson, did those include the checks that were signed by his mother from
Yes,
the Adelson
ma'am.
Institute?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Did you perform any job at the Adelson Institute?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You didn't go up there and clean on the weekends?
No, ma'am, I did not.
On the night of the murder, did you go to the defendant's house?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where was that house, or what house was that?
That was in Whale Harbor in Fort Lauderdale.
All right. And did you get payment for the murder that night?
I believe it was the following morning.
Were you in a panic when you arrived at his house?
Was I in a panic?
In a panic.
I wasn't in a panic, but Charlie was.
Okay, explain that. How was he acting?
When I opened the door, he was kind of frantic, and he had a gun in his hand, and he was just all over the place.
Was that normal behavior for him?
Not having a gun in his hand, no, ma'am.
All right. Did you know him to have a gun prior to that?
Yes, ma'am. He has a gun safe.
All right, but he just didn't usually carry around in his hand?
Yeah, he's never had it in his hand.
Turn your phone off, please.
What was he saying to you when he was in this frantic state?
I can't really recall because he had given me some Xanax, so it was a little blurry that night, and I just fell asleep. I think we both fell asleep. So.
All right. Can you tell the jury whether the excitement that he was showing had to do with the murder or something else?
Yes, ma'am. It had to do with that.
Okay. Was anybody else there at his residence when you arrived?
At that day, no, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever see his parents at the residence?
No, I didn't see his parents.
Okay. How was the money packaged when you got it? I think you said you got it the next morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How was it packaged?
It was in a plastic. The money was in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, that was inside a brown bag, and then like a grocery bag over it.
And was the money stapled?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Can you explain how it was stapled, like what size bills and what increments were stapled together?
I believe it was stapled in, I never counted it, but it was like in a stack and it was stapled in the corner.
All right. Were they $100 bills or something else?
They were
all hundreds. All hundreds.
$100.
You know, maybe we should go now, guys. You know, this wasn't really supposed to be a Katie Magbanua video anyway. Oh, you know, and we've got to spend some time not streaming. But that's a risk. You know, will we be on tomorrow? I mean, really, we should not stream tomorrow and work on the video production that we're going to be putting out. That's what it should be, but it's kind of like a rock and a hard place at the moment. We'll see. Maybe our lifetime coffee member will come through over the night. At some point in the night or tomorrow morning, you know, maybe that lifetime membership person will come forward and save the channel before we wake up in the morning. That'd be good, wouldn't it? I mean, they get a lot of benefit. Yeah. Well, you know, look. I guess we'll head off. We'll head off now, but I don't know if I'm gonna be on tomorrow or not. We'll see. Because I really want to put out some worthwhile content. I just don't feel like we're hitting it at the moment. Yeah, we can say funny things, but I really want to make some points. Gotta make some points. Oh, is Derek still here? Yeah, we'll leave it there, guys. Because, yeah. Got to work on some ideas and find some time. Alright, we'll definitely be on for Wednesday, because that's a year since Donna was arrested, and we're going to cover her arrest video because we've only done that once, and it was a long time ago. So it'll be interesting to review, I think. And, you know, we can all think, wow, this was a year ago today. How's it going, Donna? How's your cardboard pancake and eggs, Donna? How's your fake bacon, Donna? Yeah. And then, you know, it's less than a month until we... well, we might be on tomorrow, Jules. You never know. It's hard to stay away. And we gotta keep searching for that lifetime coffee member somewhere out there. We don't want to miss an opportunity. Anyway, we'll catch you soon, guys. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. All right, catch you later. Good night.